Hello and welcome to Boomer Live. We are here to talk about a virtual knockout game which just took place between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. If I have to put it in short, this was one of the most messed up games of cricket I've ever seen because both the teams tried their best to lose the game. Towards the end, one team had to lose. It was Bangladesh who took that ownership saying that we are going to lose this game. But Sri Lanka, they progress into the Super Fours. Bangladesh, they take their flight back to Dhaka. So that's how the tournament has been. It is unlike 2018, it is not Bangladesh who proceeds on to the next stage. And we predicted this at the start of the tournament as well. Bangladesh looked the weakest among the four teams in the Asia Cup, excluding Hong Kong. But here we are to talk about the teams. Welcome, Jen and Sandibani on the show. I'll get to Sandibani first up. Your initial thoughts. Bangladesh put up a very good score, the highest ever score in Asia Cup, the highest ever score in UAE rather than T20 internationals. And this was a very potent score to actually even defend, but they just couldn't because they committed a lot of mistakes.
I think it all has to go do with the mindset. In the first game, we saw Mohammad Naeem and Anamul Haq open the batting for them, and they did not set the tone for the middle order to have anything. Like they were really struggling against the spinners. They were playing a lot of dot balls. But if you see in tonight's game, Shabbir Rahman played, and there were two changes. Mehdi Hassan Miraz came in, and we all were very eager to have him open the batting for Bangladesh. He finally did so, and Sabbir Rahman was his partner. So both Mohammad Naeem and Anamul Haq were shown the exit doors because Bangladesh wanted to get this approach going, this aggressive intent.
Hmm.
So I think that really paid off. Shabir Rahman, the first ball he played, he tried to scoop it and got a boundary. Even though he did not get too many runs, he got out in the next over itself. But that intent is what I would have liked to see from the Bangladesh Afghanistan game. If this Bangladesh would have turned up in the Afghanistan game, we would have seen a different result maybe. And
Hmm.
given that they took the game so close, but talking about today's game, I think right from the start they had the positive intent. Mehdi Hassan Miraz, what a player! I mean, to come from Test format, scoring those centuries, half centuries, coming into this format, he was predominantly a bowling all rounder. Coming to open
Yeah.
the innings as a pinch hitter, he had the
Yeah.
right mindset, took the attack on the bowlers, and Bangladesh I think were 55 for 1 at the end of the power play, or
Hmm.
55 for 2 at the end of the world, which was phenomenal because that was the right way to go about it. And then
Hmm.
again, the end. I think the middle order. I was a bit disappointed with Mushfiqur Rahim's form because it's two game. He's your one of the more senior players in the team. He should
Yeah.
have stepped up, but yeah, you have one or two bad games. Nothing to be said over there. But again, Mohammedullah and Afif Hussain. What an innings to sort of stabilize and get to that platform from where they could go. They could take the attack on any bowler. I loved Afif Hussain's mentality and approach against against Wanindu Hasaranga, because
Yeah.
I was very skeptical about their performance after the game against Afghanistan, against spinners especially, because they really struggled against Rashid Khan and Mujibur Rahman in the last game. So there were issues. We saw Shakib Al Hasan get out to a straight ball again, trying to play that massive, expansive drive, playing down the wrong line. I think that was a huge error. But all in all, Bangladesh would have been very happy with that score, and it was totally defendable with the start that they got. I think Sri Lanka were trying too hard right at the start. Like they also had the right approach. They were in the
Hmm.
chase for quite some time, but right in the middle overs, it was just Ibadat Hussain. What a debut! Ibadat Hussain
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
Taskin
But
Ahmed
for
just
Ibadan Hussain, it was a game of two halves, as they say.
yeah,
First two overs
definitely.
he was the hero. Next two overs he became the villain as well. I'll come to Jaren right now because we already had mentioned about Mehdi Hassan Miraj opening the batting. If you go back to one of our preview videos of Asia Cup, I was very vocal about sending Mehdi Hassan to open the batting because he did open the batting a couple of occasions in the BPL as well. He's a very good batter in the test format as well in overseas conditions. He's got the metal to open the batting. So that's one of the reasons why I felt, he could be used as an aggressor, and he did come up pretty well. And there was a small fall off, after Mehdi's wicket there. They were 8 over 63, but from there on to take off Afif Hussein's innings was so important for them. The way in which he took on, Hasaranga, that was just a delight to watch. And Mosaddek Hussain towards the end, what a player. 24 runs from 9 balls. He just is continuing with what he did. But unfortunately for Bangladesh, they're going to end up on the losing side and they're going to be back to Dhaka. Jen, coming to you, let's talk about Ibadat Hussain, right? What a positive he has been. Where do you reckon he lost the plot? Was it that a lot of players were getting on his ears? because after that couple of sixes which he was hit by Shanaka, a lot of players across the 30-yard circle were getting onto his ears. And as a youngster making your debut in such a high pressure match, it can get to you, right?
Yeah, I mean, the stats that we saw from Imad Hussain shows this unpredictable format of T20, right? I mean, in 1 second you're on top of the world, you're doing so well, and then all of a sudden, you're thrown to the depths of, you hit the rock bottom, and that's exactly
Yeah.
what happened to Imad Hussain. The first 2 overs went brilliantly. The game was just going away from Sri Lanka. He's the one who pulled it back, and then he's the one who gifted it back to them. So you can argue that he did a great job or he didn't, but I'll tell you, I'll be very honest with you, Abel. I think where he lost the plot was probably, I will raise this question to Shakib Al Hasan. He balled 2 overs very well. He got 3 wickets. Sri Lanka was on back foot, and then he did not get the third over. Shakib
Hmm.
himself came on to ball, and I think that's where the momentum kind of got lost. And then he came back a lot later, if I'm not wrong. I think that's where it all fell apart. For me, at least, I'm not taking anything away from Shakib. You can argue that Shakib maybe thought that Ibadat could do a better job in the death, but
Yeah.
that maybe that one more over could have put Sri Lanka under that pressure. And I don't expect Sri Lankan batsmen to take risks against Ibadat Hussain. And maybe with that pace in this Dubai wicket, he could have gotten another wicket. The way he got his wickets, it was sheer pace. Something that I want to ask you, Abel, because you know a lot about UAE pitches, this
Hmm.
short ball tactic, right? We saw India use it
Yeah.
against Pakistan as well.
Yeah.
It's coming off
Yeah.
really well, and that's how
Yeah.
Ibadat got his wickets.
Right.
Maybe I felt he could have, but there's not a tactic that you can use towards a death, right? When he came on to
Right.
ball in the second half,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
maybe that one more over for Ibadat Hussain could have changed the game for Sri Lanka, for Bangladesh. That I
Yeah.
feel was a bit of a maybe a bit of a oversight by Shakib Al
Ye-
Hasan,
Right.
because he was coming into this innings as a debutant. Giving him
Hmm.
a death over during a knockout match, it's not easy, I feel.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I totally agree with you, Jaren, because one thing which I'm pretty surprised with UAE pitches, the UAE pitches always give you good bounce, especially in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Sharjah is that one wicket, where you see the pitch breaking down after a couple of matches, and you already saw in the first game where Bangladesh took on Afghanistan. But with Dubai this time, especially, they've left excessive amount of grass being at the start of the season. And the kind of bounce which the pacers are able to generate. For example, you saw Hardik Pandya generate a crazy amount of bounce, which really took Pakistani batters by surprise. And you saw the similar kind of bounce which even Naseem Shah get. Here in Dubai, the one thing which I can assure you is that they water the pitch before every game. That's one of the reasons why the pitch initially will be a little stickier, then the pitch gets easier to bat on. So once they start watering, the grass on the pitch is very lively. That's why you have a mix in the pitch. You have areas which is a little drier, areas which have got really good grass cover as well. So whenever the ball hits that grass covered area, it gets that extra bit of kick. And especially yesterday in the game against Hong Kong as well, the ball which Rohit Sharma got, for example, kicked off one of the grassy areas, and that's why it hit him right on the maker's name. And even the ball which KL Rahul got as well, it got that extra bounce because of the grass on the wicket. So I think UAE pitches this season especially is pretty surprising. That's why I told a lot of pundits across India and across the world were of the opinion that UAE pitches are going to turn square, but that's just a wrong notion about Dubai. At least in Sharjah, yes, you still can expect the ball to turn and grip slightly, but in Dubai, the paces are always going to be in the game. If you have really good, genuine pace, you can take teams by surprise. And that's why I felt, someone like Ibadat Hussain should have been given that third over. You never know. If it had got one more wicket there, Sri Lanka would have been feeling the pressure, right? I'm not saying Sri Lanka would have gone to lose the match, but then one more wicket really changes the complexion of the game. Maybe Shakib was a little tentative there not to go to Ibadat Hussain. He might have thought like he can take the game a little deep. But then I always maintain this. If a bowling team is taking the game deep, it's not a good thing. Bowling team should
Hmm.
look to finish the game off early. Batting team can still take the game deep because the bowling team will feel the pressure. The moment the bowling team takes the game deep, the bowling team will be under pressure. Today you saw the number of no balls balled by Ibadat Hussain, for example, and by Mehdi towards the end as well. It's just nothing but the pressure getting onto these players. Salimani, I'll come to you right now. We've been following this Bangladesh team for quite a while. This generation have produced some excellent, excellent cricketers. Is it finally the culmination of this golden generation in Bangladesh cricket? Because they've not won anything big, but they've created some really good generational talents like Sharif Mashraf and Murtaza. He was their leader. Shakib Al Hasan has taken over because they had no option. Tamim Iqbal, Mushfiqur Rahim, Mahmudullah. Is this the last major tournament before the World Cup we're going to really see them play together as a unit?
I definitely think so because probably we can wait till the 2023 World Cup. I think that will be the last tournament that most of these senior players will play.
Yeah.
That is very rightly mentioned, the golden period of Bangladesh cricket. We were very vocal about it in our preview of the Asia Cup, that it is probably the twilight phase of their era, because most of the players are not in the best of forms. Even Shakib, in the two games, he did not have the best of the two games possible. I think Mohammedullah was the best of the three players, of the three middle order batters. Mushfiqur Rahim was very disappointing. I think Mohammedullah was someone who saved grace, and I think today's innings was very good from him. But yeah, talking, they Bangladesh really has a good pool of youngsters as well. So I'll be very keen to see them. But right now, I think it's a mix of these old generation players and the new youngsters, and they have totally not quite yet gelled together really nicely, because we in the last 1.5 year, we have not seen Bangladesh winning too many
Yeah.
games in the T20I format or in the test format. They
Yeah.
have been very consistent in the ODI format, but they have been taking on weaker opponents when it comes to as compared to teams like India, Pakistan. They have taken on way weaker opponents. So I think that is not the right way to judge a team. But I think whatever performances they have had, I think
Yeah.
they have had patches of brilliance in the last 1.5 years.
I mean, I think we've lost Sandeepani slightly over there due to some connectivity issue, but I'll come to Jaren right here, because especially when you talk about Bangladesh from here on, it's a tournament which they like to forget as well. It's not been the best of 2 months for Bangladesh. They lost in Zimbabwe, the T20 series, and also the one day series. Now, coming to Asia Cup, they were the most jaded side. From here on, where they go about it, can they make a lot of changes? Can they bring someone like a Tamim Iqbal back? For the World Cup and say that, okay, you go, you have all the freedom, give us those starts, because they are missing the experience of Tamim Iqbal up front. Because when Tamim Iqbal was in the squad, they felt a lot more comfortable, they felt a lot more stable as well. So here on, where do they go, Jaren? And I like Sandeep also to answer that later on.
Yeah, I think this Bangladesh team has gone through a lot off the field. We've been speaking a lot about this issue that off the field there are there are big concerns when it comes to senior players and the board itself. Tamim Iqbal himself has been caught, in the crossfire as well. We don't know. I mean, I don't know much about his availability. I think his T20 plans are still under the scanner, if I'm not wrong, and that's probably an issue as well. But this Bangladesh team, they played a lot better today. They came out with a lot better attitude, and if I was a coach, at least, I wouldn't be as harsh about this Bangladesh team, because this is the Bangladesh team which we're used to seeing, right? This is a team which
Yeah.
fought till the end. I mean, regardless of the mistakes that they made, this is a squad in transition,
Mm.
and we hope that they make a better comeback. I mean, they gel together a lot better in the future, but I wouldn't make a lot of changes. At least, looking at this tournament, you might argue that against Afghanistan they were blown over, but today's match was a very good testament to what they can do. And if things had gone a little better, maybe they could have won this as well. It was a very 50-50 match.
Mm.
For me, obviously, I think this opening partnership, very excited to see how this goes forward. I think, if I'm not wrong, Bangladesh in the last 4 games have had 4 different opening partnerships. So I think it's time they settle on one particular opening partnership, and this one looks really good. Sandhivani mentioned about how they went together, the intent that they showed. Mehdi Hassan Miraj's innings, up front, is probably it was a very good innings. In fact, probably the best innings that we have seen an opener do. I mean, if you leave out the Afghanistan game, which is probably not that difficult to play because it was a very small
Yeah,
target.
yeah, very good
But
point.
this innings coming forward, batting first on a pitch where teams have found it
I think,
difficult to assess a
yeah,
target.
I think that particular innings has been battered by Kusal Mendes in the second innings, but yeah, yeah,
I mean, I can easily argue that Kushal Mendes' innings was not as smooth as Mehdi Hasan
I
Miraj
think with
innings.
Kusal Mendes, I think he got 4 lives at least
Yeah, it was
to
like
score those
Bangladesh was celebrating
60 runs.
Christmas,
Yeah.
gifting again, gifting him chances. So I wouldn't consider this, even though Kushal Mendes' innings
yeah,
had more contribution on paper. You
he's
can
a man of the
argue
match
that,
as well.
yeah, I would feel Mehdi Hasan Miraj's innings was better in terms of quality,
Mm.
because you saw
Mm.
a lot of mistakes that Kushal Mendes made that could have
Yeah,
actually,
No,
and
not
towards
just
the
about.
end,
Yeah.
yeah.
We just go on.
good,
Yeah,
good.
I was saying that too, especially towards the end, right? The way Mehdi Hasan Miraj got out and the way Kushal Mendes got out, that itself shows that maybe Mehdi Hasan Miraj's innings is better. Because if I know this is not a question that was asked yet, but this is a point I'll bring up. Shakib Al Hasan had just
Absolutely, absolutely.
asked the third man to go back to deep third man, and that's exactly the kind of shot you don't play when a field change has been done. So either Kusal Mendes did not see the field change at all, which was just
Hmm.
poor game awareness, or maybe it was just too much of arrogance, that he could take on a bowler and hit it over. Because the ram shot is somewhere you're using the pace, and if you've
Yeah.
played Mushfiqur Rahim before, if you watched matches before, it's not going to offer a lot at that stage of the innings.
Yeah, yeah, truly, truly. And we'll take some questions.
I think
Meanwhile, we
at the
got a
end
lot.
it was just a game of nerves. The first one to crumble
Yeah.
lost, and
Truly, this
I
was a
think
game of nerves from the start of the game as well. You saw the comments which were made by Shanaka, made by Bangladesh team director regarding the world class spinners Jaib. It was, this actually had a spice to it before even it actually got going. And even,
and I
in
think
terms of,
Bangladesh were true to their game. They actually took the attack on Hasaranga. No respect was shown towards
I
Hasaranga
mean,
at
I
least.
think that
Oh,
was a
I think
clear
all the
plan.
world class bowlers were taken apart.
All the world class
No
balls were
one
taken apart.
had a
Maybe,
match.
I mean, I would say Mustafizur Rahman had a decent match compared to all of them.
Even
Yeah.
And,
Thikshana, I think Thikshana did a fairly good job. I think his main uh, sort of objective early on is to stem the run flow, and if
yeah,
he gets wickets in the process, it's an added bonus. And I think he had a pretty good spell early on, and in the middle overs as well, he was very good. And also talking
absolutely.
about the innings between Mehdi Hassan Miraz and Kusal Mendis, I just want to add on that. I think it's got to do why I felt Mehdi Hassan Miraz was better, because it also has got to do with the circumstance. Because when Kushal Mendis came into bat, Sri Lanka were chasing a target. They were chasing 183 to stay in it. So he had to play that sort of a knock. But when Bangladesh came into bat, they were coming off from a loss against Afghanistan, and the previous start had not been good. It's a new opening pair. So a lot depends on how you go about it. And I think that is where I think I really appreciate how Mehdi Hassan Miraz took the attack on the bowlers. He played that fearless brand of cricket, which I would have been happier if some of the senior players would have adopted too. I know Muhammadullah is one player who is always fearless, who always takes on the bowlers once he feels that he's sort of in the groove. But again, Muhammadullah also has an issue with the strike rate early on in his innings. And I think most of the senior players, Shakib Al Hasan and Mushfiqur Rahim too, if even if they would have got going, yeah, Shakib got 20 odd runs, but even if he would have gone on to score the big runs, I think the strike rate is a huge concern for this Bangladeshi middle order. They are the players
Absolutely.
who can take the game to deep, but you have to have players from the other end who can accelerate, who will show that intent. And I think Shakib Al Hasan and Mushfiqur Rahim are not the players who will do that.
I mean, yeah, we have a question from Rudrapata. Where did Bangladesh really mess it up? I think they messed it up with by taking the game deep. As we already mentioned, Ibadat could have been given an over there. And at the end of the day, when you're actually defending 25 of 10 balls, and you could have been a little more proactive with the kind of lines you ball. You should have had a set plan. They're balling a little short to those tailenders. Balling short to tailenders is the easiest thing, right? If they even edge it, could go over the keeper's head. I think they should have been a little more fuller. Especially to someone like Asit Fernando, who is making a debut. That's where they messed up. I thought the game should have never gone to the last over. Once Karunaratne got out, that there they should have closed the game down, because it went to the last over because of the no ball and because of the extra wide also which Ibadat ball. That's where the game really changed. If it was 11 or 12 of the last overs, the game could have been still in the hands of Bangladesh.
And
But
I
that's
think
what you can
kudos
say.
to Asita Fernando, because this was his debut as well. He had a
Yeah,
Yeah.
good outing with the ball early on, but again in the death overs
yeah,
he considered 17 runs in the last over. Again, I
true.
think I don't understand why the captains are looking for their most inexperienced bowler to take the last over. I think
Yeah.
from both the sides,
Yeah.
especially
I
from
mean,
Shakib
there
Al
is
Hasan, I'll
also
be a
this
bit,
trend which
yeah,
I'm noticing from IPL as well. They're looking to bring your
yeah,
best
bowl
bowler
your
in the
best four
19th
bowlers up
over,
front.
in the penultimate over, and to take the no, not to make sure to finish the game up a little early as well. But it's a close shave, right? Like you saw that against for Pakistan as well. They want to finish the game off because in the 20th over it's a very close shave. You can actually finish the game off as well. But 19th over, as they say, is the most crucial over in a game, right? The penultimate over is where it's going to be decided, and it was a very decent over from Ibadat, unless barring that 1-4 which he considered and then wide which he balled. And to Tikshana as well. That was a very dumb rallying from Tikshana, to be very honest. Sri Lanka also tried their very best to lose this game. We'll talk about Sri Lanka because they are also not the most convincing team at this very point. They won this game.
But I
All
think
kudos to them.
talking about the bowling selection towards the death for Bangladesh, I think I have to be a bit more critical about Shakib Al Hasan's captaincy, because even
Yeah,
in the last game, We saw when sort of the spinners were doing a good job, he went with the pacers, and bowling himself out is something Shakib Al Hasan has been doing for 2 3 games now. He has been bowling himself out in periods where you feel that he can give other bowlers a chance and hold himself
Yeah.
back for the later stages of the game,
I mean, we
given
have
that
a
Bangladesh did
structure
not
in the
have any
Premier League as
No,
well. I
experience.
think.
I think I'll go even more further to say that I think Shakib Al Hasan is trying to ball himself out in times when it is comfortable for him. When he
Definitely,
Right.
I was.
feels when he feels he won't go for a lot of runs. He did not
Mm.
ball well in the power play, and it just seemed
Right.
like he wanted to make sure his figures are not affected. Maybe that's not the thinking he had. Maybe I'm being too harsh here, but it feels like that's a trend.
Yeah,
I felt
definitely.
he is someone who I'd rather have ball those overs that Ibadat Hussain bowled towards the end.
Yeah.
Or probably Mehdi Hassan, because Mehdi Hassan is not your death bowling option.
Correct.
Always he is bowling within the overs 6 to 15 in the middle overs. You expect him to bowl 2 of the last 3 overs. That is, I don't know what sort of captaincy was that. I think I would have given the ball to somebody more experienced. I would have given the ball to Mahmudullah. If
I
it
mean, yeah.
came to choosing
Hmm.
between Mehdi Hassan and Mahmudullah, I think, and given the fact that Mehdi Hassan had conceded 13 14 runs in the first over, so
Mm.
giving the ball to him, or probably a Mosaddiq Hussain as well. Mosaddiq Hussain was very economical in the early game. In the
True.
first game, considered only 5 runs of the first 2 overs, and then was brought in the 19th over, where he
Yeah.
considered a six to concede that game. But definitely feel the way he has used his bowlers, because Bangladesh had plenty of bowling options, especially spin bowling options, and they have not at all used them in the right way. Uh, I
Yeah.
I
True.
like that. I like the point that he sort of brought in Taskin Ahmed and Ibadat Hussain in the middle overs and sort of took those wickets, had an aggressive intent, but you had to continue with, if you want to continue, if you like sort of finish the overs of Taskin Ahmed and Mustafizur Rahman early on, might as well use Ibadat Hussain and keep them for the end, because they are your experienced bowlers. They have more experience bowling in the depth, and Mustafizur Rahman and Taskin Ahmed has bowled in the depth for Bangladesh in the past as well. So I did not really understand that sort of captaincy. I mean,
I mean,
yeah, he was trying to build the pressure and kill the game early on. But when you have when Sri Lanka with a batting as deep as they have, Chamika Karunaratne coming in at number 8, so that's pretty deep batting. So you have to be very careful about whom you keep till the end. And I think at number 9, Asisa Fernando coming in with 2 lusty blows from 3 deliveries
I
to
mean,
clinch
he
the
showed a
game.
lot
I
of
think that
metal,
was
man. He showed a
absolutely
lot of
great.
metal in that situation on his debut game to come and show batting at number 10. It's never easy, but he really showed how he can really take the game on. Though he had a pretty ordinary day with the ball. Abel Spidey, guys, I mean, just wearing something now. I'm not gonna pull this off. No, I did not hear anybody. I just did not hear anybody, guys. Let's not go into that. Ibadat was erratic. Yeah, absolutely. Ibadat was erratic. I thought he started up pretty well, as Jaren also mentioned. The bounce has been one thing which Pacers love bowling here, but it's also about staying and maintaining the line as well. Is it all about in T20s? I don't know what that question is, but then definitely we will consider this. Abel heard me. No, I did not. I was support, I was supporting Bangladesh, but unfortunately, okay, yeah. Let's talk about the fans, right? You saw a lot of Bangladeshi fans. I know you got a lot of expat population in UAE, but then, Jaren, what do you think about the Sri Lankan Bangladesh rivalry? It's kicked off pretty well since 2018. Both the sets of fans like going against each other. Today also you saw one side was Bangladesh, one side was Sri Lanka. It just looked like a proper rivalry which was set up.
Yeah, I mean, what I
I think
love about this right
it has been very hostile since the Nidahas Trophy in 2017 itself.
wasn't it. I mean, wasn't it Mehdi Hassan who did the Nagin dance? If I'm not wrong, was it Mehdi Hassan who started it for Bangladesh? Who balled that
Um,
over? I think it was him.
uh,
Or was it someone
in the
else?
2017, I don't think it was Mehdi Hassan, but
No, it was not. It
yeah,
was
maybe
Mushfiqur Rahim.
it was one of
I
the
think it was,
spinners.
no,
No, no,
I
no. I
think
think it was a
I forgot the
baller.
spinner. I remember it was a left arm spinner. I'm not getting his name. I remember the spinner. Correct. I remember the
But yeah,
spinner.
I mean, so I think, but what I love about this rivalry is it's purely on cricketing grounds, right? India
Yeah,
Pakistan is a rivalry based on political lines.
yeah,
New Zealand Australia, I really don't know what the rivalry is about,
yeah,
but it's not surely cricket. But this rivalry is just based on cricket. Its history is based in cricket. That's what I love about it. And
yeah,
the way the words were exchanged, it's just great to see that. You don't see that very often in cricket. There are only few rivalries that is based on in purely in cricket, and this is just exciting. And it was so nice. Fans on both the ends, the emotions. This is what sport is all about. It's not just what goes on the pitch, it's also what goes on in the stands and the television sets at
Yeah.
home, and that's why we love watching this game, right? The game was, and that's why it's one of the best matchups in Asia Cup. There's a lot of history here, right? Obviously Sri Lanka is dominating it on paper, but in the recent past Bangladesh has done well, and that's why this one game came into this culmination, right? The fact that
Hmm.
Bangladesh is going through a lot of is going through a crisis in its cricket, and while Sri Lanka is going on with an economic crisis back there, back at home, and this meant a lot for both the sides. And it's just
Hmm.
great to see personally for me that the Sri Lankan team came back in this fashion, because I know it would have hurt a lot of cricketing fans back
Yeah.
home. Things are not good, are not great there, and I mean, and, my heart goes out for the people there. It must feel really good for the Sri Lankan fans to watch the team do well and fight as they have fought today.
I mean,
But
yeah,
what a
it's a
great
huge
rivalry,
moment for
and
them.
really excited to
Absolutely.
see, yeah, the next
I
few
mean,
matches that come up.
as we predicted at the start of the Asia Cup as well, it's come out pretty true at this point. If Pakistan also goes to win this, where are super force, considering the form, considering the talent on paper, Sri Lanka were always the much more potential side, right? Sri Lanka had the potential. Sri Lanka still has got the potential. They still not brought their A game into the tournament. I believe they can bring it in the super force as well. And when the situation is tough, they've got the backing, they've got the players. Each of their individual players are match winners. Shanaka, Asalanka, Hasaranga, as maybe Gunatilaka is one player I would maybe question my position on. I'll come to Sandibani on a special take on Gunatilaka, but before that,
I think
But I
I
think
read in one
whenever
of
we
the
have
comments
a
that
Sri Lanka
we have
match,
been very positive. A lot of people watch us because we have been very positive. Those people can really tune off for a bit because I'm going to be very critical about Gunatilaka, and
that
and
I
yeah,
I'll
I
think
think
I'll not
we
be
we
critical
have
about
a
Gunatilaka
special
honestly.
segment when it comes to Sri Lankan matches, the Gunatilaka segment by Sandhimani.
before it was, I
No,
mean,
I honestly
personally,
think
I'll
it
take
is
those
it is
comments as
horrible
well.
team selection. I mean,
I'll take those
it's
comments as well. Yeah, before that, thank you, Tanya. If we are able to encourage people to watch sport, this is the best comment we can get all day, because I know you people want to join the discussion because of us. If you're watching sports, there's nothing like it, because that's our whole point, right? We want to encourage and instill that sporting nature onto you people. Not gonna lie, I have been started watching Asia Cup because of you people. My fam has been surprised all of that. Oh yeah, of course. Uh, Very nice, very sweet of you people. I mean, to actually start watching sports because of us in some way or the other. If we can motivate people to watch, that's the whole point. If it is to motivate a certain gender, if it is to motivate certain people to watch, that's the whole point, right? We are here to discuss in a friendly manner to make you people understand what is happening. That's why we don't want to be extremely technical about stuff, which we can be, which we are at times, but at the same time, want to keep it a discussion which is pretty mellowed down, so that all the
Yeah.
people who are tuning and who are not aware about the game as well understands what we are talking about. But that's why we have a gendered discussion, also a match discussion. But let's talk about Sri Lanka. We've covered almost 30 minutes on Bangladesh. So let's talk about Sri Lanka. It's time we talk about the team which won. It's only fair on Sri Lanka if we talk about them. Sri Lanka, they were pretty confident the moment they were going to ball today. They were pretty clear with their plans. My Sikshana bowling in the power play, he did a half decent job, but then they were taken aback by a little surprise, right? When someone like a Shabir and also with Mehdi coming out having an onslaught against them. For Sri Lanka from here on in the bowling attack, what are the changes you see? Because they still lack a pace who can ball in the death. Because Chamira's miss has been a huge miss. I think Shanaka has been underusing him. I don't know if it's because of an injury. Didn't come into you. Don't you think Shanaka should be using him a lot more? Because he's got the golden arm. Every time Shanaka balls, he picks up a wicket or two here and there. Why hasn't he been bowling as much as what we have seen him bowling previously?
Yeah, I don't know really. I think maybe you are right. Maybe there's something that the team management knows that we don't. Maybe they're trying to save him because he's the captain after all, and if he injures himself playing, I mean, balling, that'll really hurt this team. We saw what he could have done if he had stayed on. I mean, in the pitch. I mean, if he had stayed till the end, because he's someone who's known to finish. He has that caliber to finish games. Maybe that's the reason why. I don't really know. I mean, what is the scene with Jamira? I mean, why isn't he playing? Is there some
He got
injury
injured
concern?
right before the Asia Cup.
So for how long is he out then?
I think he's ruled out of the Asia Cup, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
And the
he is
World
ruled out
T20
of the
as
Asia
well.
Cup.
I'm not sure about the World T20, but as of now, it is the Asia Cup, and they'll be really hoping that he's in fit and ready to go for the World T20, because the Australian pitches will really need someone like a Chamira, and that's what he brings to the entire four of things as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So exactly that's point, right? I mean, he's one of those. I think he's one of the rare picks you see in IPL from Sri Lanka, especially if he's just a pure bowler. We've seen a lot of all-rounders from Sri Lanka come into the IPL, but you're seeing out and out ballers just coming into the IPL playing matches. That's something rare, and that speaks why Dushmanta Chamira is, miss is there in the Sri Lankan team as well. I mean, I like pretty much what I saw from the fast bowlers. Maybe a little bit more. I don't think the skill is the issue here. Maybe I felt, especially something like an Asita Fernando, right? He bowled really well at the start of it, and then towards the end it became a bit erratic.
Yeah,
And I think
yeah.
that's because of the mentality, him not being used to bowling in these death overs. So that's something I think they need to groom him with. There's an interesting point that one of the analysts, a long time back when I was reading an article, read that many a times you see these in cricket matches, especially, teams need to not only define roles but also make sure that these roles are defined in the practice nets, right?
Mm,
If you know someone is going to ball the death over, or if you know that there's a possibility this particular person going to ball in the death over, maybe they need a lot more practice in nets. We don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but maybe something where you can create a mock simulation or something like that. As of now,
mm,
I think these ballers have the skills. They just need the mentality. They just need the experience to ball in the death. Also, maybe somewhere, someplace, maybe you can try someone like a Harsaranga in the death overs as well, because it has become a new trend in T20I that I've seen. The 17th over or the 16th over goes to a spinner and clip the wings of these death over batsmen towards initially in the 5 overs, and then restrict or bring the tail out, and
mm.
maybe that's something they can try. And Hasranga has got the quality, at least he's got the variations to trick the batsman in. Maybe that's something that Sri Lankans can try as well.
Yeah, true. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where they use these ballers at this very point now. If at all they're going to play a couple of matches in Sharjah, I see them playing one more extra spinner, because I still think Sri Lanka should stick to their strength, which is going with a predominant spin attack. And I think they can tie a web around teams. I remember that game against Australia where they bought 46 overs of spin in a 50-over game. So they've got the riches of spin in their bowling attack as well. So that's something which we are pretty much looking at. Sri Lanka will be in the final. I mean, it's way too early to call that. It's way too early to say that Sri Lanka will be in the final. Able adjusting hair is one of the best thing. I think it's for time for me to get a haircut. I think that's genuinely the thing. Uh, we've got a very very sweet thing, Nathan Alvarez. I remember him telling that he does not understand cricket, but he traveled 2 hours to Dubai to watch the game. Oh wow, that is a huge huge thing. I
Whoa!
mean, oh man, oh shit, my camera is also gone.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think while he fixes camera, Nathan, thank you so much. I mean, that means a lot to us if it has come from us, that is. But I'm just glad you're taking genuine interest in cricket. It's just great for us to see
yeah,
that. We always love people new and more and more people coming into cricket. If especially it's because of us, it just means
yeah.
a lot to us. It means the world to us.
I mean,
Thank you so much,
absolutely.
Nathan. I hope you enjoyed
Sandeep,
the match. It's one
Salima,
of the
you
best
wanted him
matches
to
you could
watch
have
cricket
gone.
as well. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, definitely. I think it's very good that we have been having all these positive comments with people coming in, looking at like watching more cricket games, and if we are able to instill even a bit of cricket like enthusiasm in you, it's a win for us. And I think
yeah,
that is what the entire objective is, to sort of, we love the game, we want you to love the game, we want you to see the game, and that's all about it. And I think it's been very positive. You guys encourage us and motivate us to come here every day, so that we sit here in live and we talk about the game.
yeah. Jen, maybe you want to look back sometimes. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Nathan, for that, because it's one of the most heartwarming comments which I've seen. And also, I'd like to take names like Priyanka and Saloni as well, who have joined us, who gave similar kind of comments. So that's the whole point, right? Today, and I'm a huge thank you to all the subscribers. I mean, we started off with 320 subscribers. We've hit 845 subscribers. It's your love. I think we're doing something right for you people to subscribe. So keep at it. I think if more of you subscribe, it'll help you to bring more of this content. And we always believe content is the king. But now shifting back our focus into the game. For Sri Lanka, it is not the most perfect game, right, Sandeepani? As I'll give you a segment to talk about Gunatarka. I don't want to talk about him right now. Just wait, just wait. Hold on to it. But for Sri Lanka,
Most
how
awaited
happy will they
segment.
with that? How happy will they be with that innings of Kushal Mendes? Because he is a player who has shown immense potential over the years. Because when Kushal Mendes came into the array as a cricketer, people compared him with the great like Mahalaya Jayawardene, because he's got
Yeah.
similar elegance, he's got similar timing, but he never became the player which everybody hoped he would be. But at this point, it's a resurgence for him. Dinesh Chandimal, do you still see they can make a couple of changes, especially Dinesh Chandimal coming in for Gunatilaka and Kushal Mendes playing a similar kind of knock as well. Your thoughts on the game and also on Kushal Mendes?
I think Kushal Mendes had his golden year in 2017, right back at that ICC Champions Trophy when he I think scored a century against India to win that game for Sri Lanka. I think that was the start of his career. That is when he started becoming a household name in Sri Lanka, definitely, because he was a youngster back then. And also he had a very consistent series in that Nidahas Trophy in 2017. I think he was a consistent performer for Sri Lanka. But I think to 2019, 2020, 2021, he did not have the best of years. I think
Mm.
his average dropped gradually. He was initially coming into bat at number three. He has batted at number three for Sri Lanka for a long time now. And I think this 2020 is the year, I think, that it really revived his career. He
Yeah.
started getting those runs. He started to open the innings for Sri Lanka. Gunatilaka was demoted down the order. I think in 2022 itself, after that World Cup debacle, after the Sri Lanka lost in the T20 World Cup, I think they made a few changes. They trusted their senior players to step up. Players like Dhananjay De Silva, uh, then Dinesh Chandimal. I think they made a comeback to the team. They have been very consistent in the ODI Test format. They have been very consistent in whatever domestic tournaments they have played, and I think even in the T20s. I think Dinesh Chandimal has made a comeback to the squad after a long time in T20s. I was very excited to see him. I have nothing against Gunatilaka, honestly, but the fact that he has been not scoring,
Dying.
and he has just been taking a
He is.
spot,
He
and I
definitely
think
is.
it's not. It's nothing to do with him. I seriously feel the selection committee and the
Mm.
management has really trusted him to go out there and play a particular brand of cricket. I think they want Gunatilaka is sort of a player who can give you those 20-30 runs of 10-15 balls, those sort of cameos. He has done that for Sri Lanka in the past. He has been doing
Mm.
it for Sri Lanka in the ODI format. So it's a moment of time when it will come to him in the T20I format as well.
Yeah.
But right now, I think he has not been scoring and he has been taking that spot. And I'm also concerned with the Sri Lankan middle order, to be honest, because
Yeah.
if you talk about experience, there is not much experience. We all know Asalanka and Rajapaksha are two of the X factor players in the Sri Lankan middle order. They
Mm.
were very consistent since the 2021 World Cup, and they have had some great seasons. But coming to this tournament, in the two games that they played in the Asia Cup, they haven't looked good. And I think it's the Sri Lankan middle order that has been a concern. And even I think they will be very relieved after today's game, because it was a game that Bangladesh lost rather than Sri Lanka winning.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm.
kudos to the lower order batsmen in the form of Chamika Karunaratne playing that 16 run cameo. The captain Shanaka having a good impact, scoring that 44-45 runs, coming in a very tricky position where Sri Lanka needed around 9.5 runs per over.
Yeah.
And I mean, what an innings by Kushal Mendes. I think 37
True.
of 60. Yeah, he got four lives. But he has capitalized. I love how Kushal Mendes tackles the spinners, especially. I
Yeah.
think he's a
Terrific
brilliant
player
player
of
of
spin.
spin. I think
Mm.
he's a brilliant player of spin. I agree with Jedin about that point, that he got out in a very silly fashion in the wrong time. I think Sri Lanka had the game when he got out. They needed some 10 runs per over in the last 6 overs. Having known that Bangladesh don't have their fifth bowling option. I mean, their fifth bowling option haven't bowled yet. I mean, 3 overs of the fifth bowling option was still remaining. And you also had 2 overs of the inexperienced Ibadat Hussain. I think that was not the moment to sort of go after and go after Mustafizur and get out in that fashion.
Yeah.
Especially
Indeed.
considering that Mustafizur had just the 1 over after it. So I think a bit disappointed by the way he got out, but I definitely feel the more the senior players come up and step in, I think the better it is for Sri Lanka going ahead into the tournament. I will not even be surprised if both Dhananjay De Silva and Dinesh Chandimal gets a run. I mean, definitely give Dinesh Chandimal a run in place of Gunatilaka. And if I will certainly continue, I'll make only one change for the next game. If none of my pacers are fit till then, because I think the pacer department is also a bit inexperienced. You have Madhu Shankar, who is a brilliant bowler, but he has not been bowling in the death overs for you. So that has been creating a lot of pressure for the all-rounders like Chamika
Yeah,
Karunaratne and Hasaranga to bowl in the death overs, and the
yeah.
inexperienced Asita Fernando. We saw Asita Fernando bowled a 20th over, and he was taken for plenty. 17 runs in that final over could have cost Sri Lanka dearly and could have probably cost the game for Sri Lanka. But
True.
I think it's a bit of an inexperience in that bowling department, and a huge concern for me is the batting department. I want the senior players. If you have given them a spot in the squad, they have been in good form. Please give them the game so that they can prove themselves. I think just the one change will be made in the next game for Sri Lanka. I hope so that Gunatilaka makes way for Dinesh Chandimal. But I would also love to see uh, Dhananjay De Silva get a game in place of either Rajapaksha or Asalanka or even Nisanka if either of the three fails. We know Nisanka has provided Sri Lanka with good starts, with solid starts throughout the tournament. But you have
Mm,
to take into account this Asia Cup. We have had 5 games now, but there has been only 3 half centuries
true.
in this tournament, and one was in the game with 4 lives. Like Kushal Mendis scored that half century with 4 lives, and the other 2 were from the Indian batsman in the last game. So
Yeah. I
in
mean,
competitive
one was a
cricket, we have not
top
seen
half
any half
century.
century.
For me, the best half century of the tournament has to be Surya Kumar Yadav because I know it's against Hong Kong, but then that was one crazy knock.
Yeah, yeah,
And
but
Virat
definitely,
Kohli
my
also was
point
very
is
good.
when the teams are more competitive, like when Afghanistan is playing Bangladesh or Bangladesh is playing Sri
But
Lanka, the
I
batsmen are
have a
finding it
point
very
to
difficult
discuss
to
over
keep
here,
going.
right? Let's talk about something which is very relevant, I believe. Before that, thank you, Azil. It's a very sweet comment. You guys are better than many analysts out there. I mean, very, very, very sweet. Thank you for that. These comments really help us to and motivate us to even bring you better content. And we will be, I assure you that we will bring you through many, many good content through the course of this Asia Cup as well. So, talking about that, one thing which I've noticed in the last couple of years in T20 cricket, or in the last 3 years at least, do you really need 50s in your team? Won't you take a
Yeah.
good
I,
30, good
I think
40?
you need at
Because
least
50s, I
150 in
believe.
one innings. You need one player who can bat
No,
throughout,
no, no, no.
giving
My point is not this.
you.
Sandeep,
You
would you take
definitely need one
four
Kohli,
players
right?
who score high quality 30s? That's why you have now a parameter in IPL at least. Now it's no more 50s, right? They count your 30s. Number of 30s 20, number of 30s
Hmm.
50. That's one of the parameters which has been set by IPL. IPL started this off, and I see many other leagues also following it. Now, are you talking about high quality 30 of 17 balls, 30 of 20, 30 of 15 balls, or would you take a 50 of 35 balls? What would you take? Jaren, I want you to talk about it first up, and I'll come to Sandeepani because the game has changed so much that 50 is no more relevant, right? Because I believe the more you bat, more it hampers the team as well. Because for a team like India, you have great riches, especially with the depth that India has gotten. Dinesh Karthik Jadeja. Yesterday also, that's why I felt like KL Rahul should have gotten retired out if he couldn't have cleared the
Yeah,
rope for more longer
correct.
period of time. So that's my point, right? Even Virat Kohli's innings was not the most convincing thing for me. Though he scored that 50, I would have rather had Virat Kohli scoring maybe a 40 of 20 balls than score that 50. So that's why the game has changed so much. So milestones don't really matter. It is about playing for the team. And if you look at that Australian team which won the World Cup, David Warner did score, but then at the same time you have these people chipping in. Matthew Wade, sometimes Marcus Stoinis, sometimes, and with the same thing with West Indies as well, who were the defending champions in 2016. Jen, coming to you on that.
That's a very good point. I mean, we were talking about how Virat Kohli's never got his. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about Virat Kohli's 71st century, which is coming forward or stuff like that. That's a very interesting point right there. Is runs really as important as it used to be once upon a time? Are 50s and 100s really the metric for a batsman? And I really don't think so, right? At least especially in T20, right? Any other format, maybe in a one-day cricket, I can argue that one batsman needs to score that 100 or that 75, 60, I mean, 75, 80 runs and bat through maybe 20 overs. But in 2020, in T20, right, that is not what you need. We speak about, like, for example, I mean, just looking at what you require in the last 5 overs is probably a very good metric. You don't come up with scores where you require 35 or 30, I mean, 35 of 30 or maybe a 50 of 30, right? You require scores of 60 of 30 or 70 of 30. And that's the kind of innings that can change the game. So that's, I mean, if you can, if what I'm trying to say here is, if a batsman scores, 5 over 70, right? Then the burden in the last 5 overs reduces. And that last 5 overs is something that every team fixes upon at the end of the day, because that's the culmination of the innings. And that's where strike rate, I feel, is more important. Another thing that innovation that I've seen in IPL is that when they show the statistics of a batsman when they enter, they
Hmm.
highlight the most important statistic, right? And most
Hmm.
batsmen, what they highlight is the strike rate, not the 50s, not the hundreds. And the batsmen that they highlight the strike rates of are the batsmen that you are afraid of, the X factor batsmen. And just looking at Virat Kohli's innings, when T20 had just begun in, in 2007, Virat Kohli's innings would have been one of the best innings in that match.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Yadav's innings would have been bad, but Virat
Hmm.
Kohli's innings would have been great in 2007, 2008. But why did we criticize his innings is because of the lack of strike rate, the lack of intent, right? And that's the
Hmm.
reason why I feel Virat Kohli as a batsman has been suffering as well. Because there's been a lot of talk about his intent as well as his form and the lack of ability. I mean, lack of runs. So I feel strike rate is very important, and that's where you see someone like someone like an Andre Russell or a Surya Kumar Yadav being so effective as batsmen.
Hmm. Absolutely. I mean, totally agree with you. Sandeepan, your thoughts on that particular point as well, because it's a point which we had to discuss at some stage, and it's very relevant in this day and age because everybody talks about a template at which you have to play your game. Everybody talks about playing for the team more than playing for your milestones, because milestones, in my opinion, are irrelevant. There is no more getting set and going for it, right? It is about going for it from now. It's now or never. It's no more. I will see. I will take the game deep. That thing is gone, especially in batting first. So, Sandeepan, your thoughts on that?
Now, I think I'll slightly differ from you with the point that, yeah, I mean, definitely the most important stat in T20s is the strike rate. You definitely need to have a good strike rate. But like you mentioned, in the 2016, the West Indies won the T20 World Cup. They had a Lendl Simmons who used to
Hmm.
more often than not play those sort of 120, 130 strike rate innings, play throughout the innings. You would definitely like 430s of 15, 16 balls in an innings, but I would
Hmm.
definitely take one 60 or 40 balls, and I'll definitely take the others if you can score 200. I would
Hmm.
like one batsman to play throughout the innings, play those 50, 55 balls, 70, 80 runs, ensure
Yeah.
that you don't lose too many wickets in at a particular interval, because playing that aggressive brand of cricket has its cons as well. The cons will be that you might when it is not your day, you might come into bat and lose two or three wickets early on, and that is when you have to change that mindset, and you have to sort of slow down. Rather than all the players slowing down when they lose two or three quick wickets, I would rather prefer that they start slowly but steadily. Don't lose too many wickets early on. You need one player that can say that, yeah, I will play throughout the innings. You definitely don't need three Virat Kohlis in a team, but you definitely need one Virat Kohli in a team. Even today,
Hmm.
even in the World Cup winning team that Australia had, Warner opening the innings for Australia did not play like the Warner in 2013 or 2014. He never used to
True.
come out and go after the bowling right from ball one. We used to
True.
see either Aaron Finch or Warner take the attack on the bowler. It was in especially in that T20 World Cup. We did not see both of them going really hard at the bowling right from ball one. And I think Australia's approach. They also have a Steven Smith in the team. They also had a Steven Smith in the T20 World Cup winning team. And I think the
Hmm.
approach from the Australian cricket or the current Indian cricket team will be to go aggressively, to start off aggressively, but be careful not to lose 2 3 wickets up front so that you cannot capitalize on the bowling. Don't be a Punjab Kings of 2022 in IPL.
Hmm.
Rather be a
Sandeep, I
than
think
for
Punjab
the
Kings
Gujarat Titans.
themselves were they were very confused to start off with. They started off very
Yeah, I
good.
think the clarity is
With
what
that
is
approach,
required.
you will
You
get
would definitely
losses. I
not be
mean,
happy if you see somebody like a Surya Kumar Yadav coming in playing at a strike rate of 110, 20, and being asked by the management to do so. You will not like it if
No, no,
Rishabh Pant
no.
is
I
asked
mean,
to
that's not
bat
my point.
slowly.
My point is,
Yeah.
if we are comparing someone like some team like Punjab Kings, as you brought that particular point, and I've also stressed many a times on this particular podcast, that you need to have one anchor, but everybody should be able to play around him. One player to hold one end up, like a game like Pakistan can
Yeah,
come
so
right in a chase. Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah.
Jay.
I'll add to that table if I may. That anchor, you need an anchor. I'll agree with that. But that anchor should have the capability to go at 150 at a particular point in time. Virat Kohli
Yes,
has that
definitely,
ability,
definitely.
but
Yes.
Definitely. And I think
Virat
with the
Kohli
with
has that
the
ability, and that's the reason why I don't. I'm not saying he's going to be kicked out of the T20 team or he doesn't fit in that team. That's the reason why I feel he fits in that team perfectly.
Yeah.
But you need an
But
anchor to go at
yeah,
150 minimum.
absolutely, absolutely.
Even if
That's
he
a very good
starts
point.
off late, he needs to be
Yeah,
able to accelerate. He shouldn't be
absolutely.
eating balls throughout the innings.
Truly, truly. And that's why I like Virat Kohli. I'm not saying it's not my personal bias, but I like Virat Kohli for the very reason that he has got that accelerator in him. His strike rate versus pace in the last 4 overs is better than many players in the world. He's got a strike rate of close to 250 with pace. and his
That
strike
is
rate after
also the
35
fact
balls.
with KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma. I think once you get
I
settled,
mean,
you are
KL Rahul,
often bound to hit
it's a
those big
different
shots.
point. KL Rahul can strike with that strike rate from ball one, but he's not doing. I don't know what's the reason. It's one of the reasons
I
why
think he's
also
coming
we are
back from a
so
major
angry.
injury. That is one of the major reasons that he has.
Maybe
He'll take some
yes.
time to get going. Definitely.
So should Virat Kohli score runs? Absolutely, Virat Kohli should score runs. That's the whole point, right? Virat Kohli should score runs, but play according to situation. If the team demands him to bat 150, he should. And if he's not if he's not going to come off on a day, as fans, you should be able to accept that as well. Because as fans, we expect Virat Kohli to score 50 every game. But as fans, you should also realize the game has changed so much that Virat Kohli's 50 is no more relevant. If Virat Kohli can score a good 40 of 20 balls, that's more relevant than a 50 or 40 balls. So that's what I would take as a player. That's what the game would need. um, I love the fact the panelists
I
agreed
think
this
at the
week.
end of the day, it works like every team has different sort of philosophies and different sort of approaches, and I think you should do what suits your team the best. I mean, we there was a lot of controversy regarding the baseball, regarding the England way of cricket after that innings loss against South Africa, but they
Mhm.
came back strong. They won by an innings
Yeah.
in
I
the
mean,
next game
truly, I mean,
itself.
that's the point, right? That's why I said that with Punjab also. If you're going to go, if you're going to really get demolished after one loss, then your philosophy in itself will go out of the window. You will have losses. That's the thing with sport. You have
Yeah.
to
So
conceive sport
if
like it is sport. It is not some kind of a debate competition or anything that you're going to be like, you are, if you're the most top debater, you're going to keep on winning, winning, winning. And in sports, you're going to have lows. Even with any other competition, you're going to have your lows. So you have to take it with the chin up and you have to continue with the philosophy. If you're going to back your own philosophy, I'll tell you one of the biggest things. So when Pep got, I'm going to give a football analogy here because I'm a huge football buff as well. So I'll just bring a football analogy. When Pep Guardiola took Barcelona were absolutely pretty, fans were pretty vivid because fans were pretty agitated because of the fact that he brought in a lot of changes, but he wanted to put up a philosophy in place and he backed the philosophy. There were losses initially which Barcelona had to go through, but then if you look in a season same, they got 6 trophies in a year. That's the whole point. If you have to embed a philosophy into a team, it's going to take time. You're going to have losses, but then you have to back it. That's why I am totally in agreement with Jaren and also in Sandeepan in terms of the way teams are going to back their philosophy. We've got a very interesting point from Shenwari also. Will you have a batter like Baba who scores run at a strike rate of 120, or have a player with the average 25 and a strike rate of 160? Very good point. I mean, uh, I'll give to you, Sandeepan, to take that question because it's a relevant point as what we're discussing right now. Because I have a question. Will you have Samson who inconsistent but has intent or show? I mean, I'm not pretty sure what was that question all about, but then I think you're talking about will you have a player with intent or will you have a player who is consistent? I believe that's a
I think
question.
definitely consistency. Consistency in the long run will pay off, and definitely not okay. Talking about Babar Azam, I would not ideally have two Babar Azams in a team because we have seen with Babar Azam he does not have that fifth gear. He
Yeah,
can go from first gear to fourth gear, but then he stops at a point.
yeah,
I would definitely like to. I would love to have one Babar Azam, but that's
yeah,
about it. That's been my point. I'm not saying that
Hmm.
you have to have 2 3 players who can sort of take the game deep, play till the 20th over. You need to have
yeah,
one player who is very consistent, scores 40 45 runs in every game in 30 balls, scores at 120 125. I'm okay with it because you have other 10 players, or rather other 5 6 batters who can come in and accelerate and win the game for you. So I definitely feel there needs to be one player around whom the batters have to play around. He has to play throughout the innings, and although whatever I'm talking about, it all depends on situations as well. If you're chasing 210, that time I'm not asking a player to come in and play at 120 130. Definitely go for the attack. And I think all the teams have a particular approach and a particular way about going about different things. And I think and people adjust, teams adjust. I think Bangladesh,
mm,
after the first game, they really
yeah,
adjusted their team. They changed
yeah,
their opening pair, and it brought about a difference in the approach in the team. And
right,
similarly with Sri Lanka as well, they also changed their approach, but it was a forced change because they had to chase 184 in this one. They were not
right,
setting up a target, they were chasing 184. So different
right.
situations, different circumstances require different like results. And I think I would rather have a Babar Azam than a player with an average of 25 going at 160 165. Maybe in my middle order I'll have him also as another opener, but one Babar Azam in a team is very important.
I mean, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's a point which is very relevant, right? I'll come to Jaren right now because we have a question also on similar lane, so I'll take that question up. I know I just saw that. Yeah, should Babar and Rizwan play together because both have strike rates of 120? Very, very valid point, right? Because we spoke about having one Babar Azam. It's a very similar point with India. Would you have Rahul and Virat Kohli play the similar template? Because it can really, really take things off and take people by surprise as well. So my question is this: will you have them both play together, or will you have Fakar up and push Rizwan down at number three? Because when they both bat together in a situation where they're batting first, things can go a little bad, right? Example, you saw the game against India. You saw that in that series also previously. So whom would you have? Would you have two players who are going to anchor, or one player like Fakar Zaman up top as an aggressor, and shift Rizwan back at number three, because he can bat number four as well. I've seen him bat in Pakistan domestic T20s. He's got a potential to actually take the game on when he comes in the middle order rather than batting up front.
Yeah, I mean, I'll answer this question along the lines of what Sandibani said, right? The question that Sandibani got. When you have a batsman batting at 120, you need, so when you have a Babar Azam, you need an Iftikhar Ali or an Asif Ali who can smash the ball at will, it scores at 160 strike rate. So that then balances things out. Then you can have someone like a Babar Azam. If you have a team full of Babar Azams, you will not be able to win. At the same time, if you have a team full of Asif Alis, you will not be able to win. It's about roles, and that's what. So for every MS Dhoni, you require a Dwayne Bravo. That's simply that's simply what I would say. You require someone who has method, and you require madness as well. And it's a combination of two that wins you T20 games. So yeah, I mean, we spoke about this Babar Azam and Rizwan playing together, right? Last time as well. The reason why we can't have Fakar Zaman play, I think Abel is the one who brought this point up. He's a bit weak against fast bowling, and you want a batsman to play to their strengths at the end of the day. And so that's the only way you can have them play those roles. So after Babar Azam and Rizwan, you suddenly have you have a line of batsmen who are just going to smash the ball at will, who probably are not very good at building an innings at 120 strike rate, who will just keep going at it. And that's why you need someone like Babar Azam and Rizwan. One thing that I feel both Babar Azam and Rizwan need to do is one of them will have to decide, today I'm feeling it, I have to attack, right? And that's one thing that maybe they did not do against India. They were just fending off the Indian pace bowling. And that's why I think things could have gotten better if one of them had decided, I'm just going hell for leather, just going after the bowling. And sometimes when your batsman does that, it can throw off the bowlers as well. So that's what you require. Virat Kohli, KL Rahul, I've already made my point very clear. You need Kohli and Rohit to open the innings. And the reason I say that, especially now with Rohit's renewed sense of attack, that's exactly what Rohit Sharma is doing, right? He's going after the bowling. So he isn't worried about his wicket anymore. And that's the reason why we will not criticize Rohit Sharma for his average anymore. Because he's
people should also understand that Rohit Sharma is going to average in the mid 20s, and you have to be ready to take that out. It's no more Rohit Sharma who's going to score those big 70s and 80s. On a day, if it comes up, it's going to look very good.
You know what, Abel, I'll tell you this. I think Rohit Sharma is fitting into that role, because I think there was a transition period where he was still, in two minds whether I should play or whether I shouldn't. I think you saw that in the IPL especially. Some matches he tried to attack, some matches he tried to fend off the attack. And that's also an IPL team where you're talking about a Mumbai Indian which is struggling to score runs. But now in this Indian team, he's confident, he knows what his role is, and he's doing that. You saw against Hong Kong that he was doing it a lot better. I think against, hopefully, as a India-Pakistan rivalry fan, I hope it's India-Pakistan on Sunday. And I think against Pakistan, you'll see Rohit Sharma do it even better. And I think he's just going to get better and better. And with the way that Kohli played, you might see him play a lot more better. So that's my idea, right? You need someone who's going to play with intent, at the same time someone who's going to have that method. But as Sandipani said, one batsman only. You cannot have many batsmen with the same. You cannot have more than two. You can't afford two or more. And if you have two batsmen, they need to have that one extra hitter. And that's the reason why I feel Pakistan is safe right now. I know there's a lot of question about
Pakistan.
this.
I think I would just like to add on that with Pakistan, the thing is different, because I think I brought it up in the last in yesterday.
We spoke about it, correct?
Yeah, we spoke about it yesterday. The thing is that the pitches that they play in, more often than not, they are chasing those 150, 160 targets. And I think
I'll also make a point over here, Sandeepani. Pakistan's template is different. We have to keep that in mind.
Yeah. They have a different template.
Different 160 to 170
Definitely.
odd. So that's their template, how they go about it. So if they get a score of 160, even in that game against India, if they'd have gotten to a score of 160, they would have actually defended that quite comfortably. So that's their template. Every team has got their own philosophy. So you should understand that if England is playing a certain way, that doesn't mean all the teams should play a certain way of cricket, right?
Definitely.
I know the modern game is changing as well, but Pakistan's strength is their bowling. They should stick on to that. That's why I feel Babar and Rizwan fits into that role perfectly to take them to 160, 170 odd, and Fakar and Asif Ali can also aggress towards the latter part of it.
They've got the bowling to defend.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
and I definitely feel that Pakistan in the middle order and in the lower middle order as well, they have got enough hitters that if the two of Babar Azam and Rizwan, if they can provide a decent enough start, 70 or 75 in the first 10 overs, they can on their day they can even score 180, 190.
Absolutely.
That is the sort of firepower that they have towards the end of their batting lineup. But the fact is that with Babar Azam and Rizwan, the India game was different. I think even in the India game, I think Babar Azam started off really positively. He hit his first delivery for a boundary, straight drive, and definitely he was trying to go after the bowling, and I think that led to his downfall. And in previous India Pakistan games as well, we have never seen an India Pakistan game start off in a way that one of the like the batting team are coming out and playing
Hmm.
a like starting off like greatly, like scoring 60, 70 runs in the power play. That has never happened. Never
Yeah.
happened because they have to take into account the pressure as well. The
Yeah.
teams face a lot of pressure.
It's a real thing. It's
Yeah.
a real thing. Before that, thank you, Nikhil Bhaiya, for joining. It's great to have you on the channel again, in some way possible. Yeah. What do you think about Bangladesh seniors? It's a thing which we already spoke about. Bangladesh generation coming to an end. The golden periods, as they would like to call, from 2015 to 2022, or maybe I don't know. I hope it goes to 2023, but I'm just making a point. But I think it is the end of this golden generation. For me, I thought Shakib Al Hasan, as a batter, I expected him to take a lot more responsibility. Today also, he scored at a strike rate of 103, on a pitch which looked pretty good for batting. And also same thing with Mushfiqur Rahim as well. I thought this was a tournament which was, again and again, Bangladesh are reliant on their seniors ultimately. If they have to win matches, their seniors have to step up. Even today, if Shakib would have picked up a couple of wickets here and there, the game would have actually turned. And Mahamadullah as well, he's really not really featured in this lineup. But then, they really want their seniors to step up on a big day. You saw Tamim not making it to the Asia Cup as well. So time and time again, why do we go back to the seniors? Because these that generation of players have set a benchmark. I've not seen other players really achieve it. Musliq Hussain is one bright sign out of many who has really come out of Bangladesh. Shabir Rahman, he came up with a lot of potential. He did not play cricket for last 3 years. He went on an A tour to West Indies as well before that. And from there on, he did a pretty good job. That's why he's made it to the squad. Love the way he showed his intent today. But I would really like to see how they pass on the mantle on to the next generation. That's going to be very interesting. I think this is the end of that golden period. I hope they get to win something or the other. I don't know what it is going to be. They've created some great memories. They're playing at home or going away. One of the greatest memories have to be them winning in that test match in New Zealand earlier this year. That
Yeah.
was one of the peak of Bangladesh cricket for me. For an Asian team like Bangladesh to go to New Zealand win, and also Champions Trophy 2017 semi-final has to be one of the peak as well, alongside two Asia Cup finals, three Asia Cup finals actually, to say at least in the last four Asia Cups. Never got an opportunity to win it, but here they don't have it. They're out as well. So Bangladesh seniors will be pretty sad. I mean, both of the bat and ball, they were pretty disappointed. Especially, I expect Shakib. It's my personal thought. I don't know if it's going to be true or not. Shakib Al Hasan, whenever he's given a responsibility of captaincy, is always failed as a player. I don't know if it's that getting to him. Today also, you saw him being super emotional on the field. And Shakib is an emotional cricketer. We have to
yeah.
understand that. We have seen him getting banned for a lot of reasons, for being emotional as well. So as a cricketer, he just gets to him a little bit more compared to other players. That's why I felt Shakib shouldn't have been given the captaincy. Maybe Mushfiqur, he's done the captaincy before, but still I would have backed him to do it. For Mushfiqur, I've seen another thing that when Mushfiqur is given the captaincy, he tends to do well. So it's my personal thought. I don't know if it's true or not. We've got a very interesting question for Umang from a fantasy pick. I would like Sandeep to answer this. Who would you better as a fantasy pick? A player scoring consistent 25 with a striker of 120, or someone who's scoring 35 with a striker of 35? I think it's player scoring 25 with a striker of 235 with a striker of 120. If I'm not wrong. Sandeep, very interesting. As a fantasy,
I think as a
points, I would definitely
fantasy,
want to help.
when you bring the fantasy aspect to it, I think the person who is scoring more runs will definitely give you more points. I understand that with boundaries also there are points involved in the boundaries as well. But somebody scoring 35 at a strike rate of 120 and somebody scoring 25 at a strike rate of 200, I think 35 at 120 will give you more points because yeah, 25 with 25 you can hardly hit potentially five boundaries, three fours and two sixes, and I think that will get you only seven extra points, which is still less than the 10 points that you will get for each run. So definitely
Absolutely.
35 with 120 strike rate is more.
I mean, that's a very good take as well, because as I know a lot of fantasy players have joined, and we are a fantasy app ourselves. So be very wary of the players you're choosing. Don't listen to our debate and be like, मैं इसको रखूंगा क्योंकि इसका intent काफी सही है, आप fantasy नहीं जीतने वाला. So you have to be pretty smart in terms of this, terms of selection. And for a fantasy team, you need average average always has an edge over your strike rate as well. So there, KL Rahul philosophy really works. Strike rate is overrated at times in fantasy sports. Runs do matter as well. So I'm not criticizing KL Rahul. I'm a huge fan of him. Maybe yes, maybe
I
not.
think so. If you're a fantasy player, KL Rahul is your pick, right? That's
Yeah.
the whole point of it.
Yeah, KL Rahul is your pick, especially against Mino Nations. I have KL Rahul always as my captain. So, but yeah, unfortunate that yes, Sandeep, you wanted to make a
No,
point.
no, no, no. Kohli is your captain against any team right now with the form that no, you don't pick KL Rahul even if India is playing Afghanistan. I
Wait,
think
is this a comment personally on Abel's teams, or is it like a general
no, no.
advice?
That's particularly only that applies only to Abel.
I'm not sure, Aisha, which comment are you talking about? Saloni has been there in the comments for a while, and it's very good to see her also follow the sport. I'm not sure where these people are from, but then it's lovely to build a family every day. These people are joining us, so it's wonderful to take all of your questions. Aisha, you've been a very regular watcher as well with us. So yeah, moving ahead, Pakistan versus Hong Kong. Your boys' predictions for tomorrow, because I know it should be Hong Kong. It should be Pakistan. Sorry, guys. It should be Pakistan. But yeah, I know sometimes they say your heart speaks faster than your brain. So no, I'm not saying anything at this point. So yeah, what are your guys' predictions? Jaren, first up to you, then to Sandeep Bani.
Yeah, I think it's Pakistan's game, isn't it? I mean, I will say one thing though. Hong Kong is someone who, I mean, is a team which is going to come into this match full of confidence. I would definitely say that Hong Kong would have walked out of that match against India heads held high. They were really good. If not for Suryakumar Yadav, this game could have been 50-50, and even Hong Kong could have probably gone on to win it. It was the only difference between the two teams was Suryakumar Yadav. But talking about tomorrow's game, I think it's definitely Pakistan's game. I have this question to you guys as well. You guys, do you think Pakistan's going to make a lot of changes? Rest a few
Let's
players.
pull out the predicted 11 as we speak about it. I've got the thing on the screen right now. Let's pull that out and see what will be the predicted 11 as we are expecting. I'm expecting Hassan Ali to make a comeback into the
Yeah,
lineup.
so that is exactly what my point is going to be. I think I would definitely try Hassan Ali, get him into the game, give him some confidence. He's not had the best of few months. He's been out of the team as well, not the first selection in this team, unfortunately for Pakistani
Mm,
fans. Shaheen Afridi is missing out. That's the reason why we expected him to be in the team as well. But
mm,
I think it was Shahnawaz Dahani who made his place, and he made it known that that is his place. So Hassan Ali has a lot of competition. Tomorrow is a game that he has to prove his mettle. Hoping
yeah,
to see him do well. Naseem Shah. I think there was a comment as well. I'm really excited by this prospect of Naseem Shah. He's
yeah,
got the
very
pace.
excited.
He's got a heart for the fast bowler. That's what you need. He comes in ball and ball. Doesn't matter what the situation is. He's ready to give his 100% for Pakistan, and that's exactly what you need a fast bowler to do. Especially, he's got
True.
the pace. He's got those. He's got the talent, and pace on any pitch can really cause some damage. So exciting to see this Pakistani team. But if this Pakistani team is sitting at home, sitting in the dugout, sitting in hotel, relaxed, they shouldn't be, because this
I mean,
Hong Kong
absolutely.
team can definitely, size up and upset. They're a team
I
which is
mean, there is
100%
something
confident.
which I'd really like to talk about Hong Kong, but before that, I'll answer Umang. Uh, so is it Hong Kong or is it India on Sunday? So if it is, joking. I would have I'll go left field, or maybe I should not go left field. I'll just go with Virat Kohli because I just feel he's there, man. Yeah, Virat Kohli has arrived. He just looks like in a big India Pakistan contest yet again. It's going to be Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma. I think you should go with it. Should be your gut at that particular day. I have a feeling Rohit Sharma is just very close for a big innings as well. Because as we already mentioned, Rohit Sharma is trying to play a certain brand of cricket. You don't also expect him to score a lot of runs. So I would say going with an all-rounder or with Virat Kohli, because Virat Kohli, if it is going to be one of those batting decks, or else it's not a bad punt to go with Hardik Pandya again as well, because he's troubled Pakistan on numerous occasions both with the bat and ball, and he's a player with a lot of confidence as well. I expect him to continue that form with the kind of form he's in right now. If it is a good batting deck, and I expect him to explode even more. So Hardik Pandya, Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, and also if I have to talk about from Pakistan's end, I'm expecting it is Pakistan. I would say going with Rizwan. I have a feeling that it's time for Rizwan to come to the party. Rizwan has got it in him. and he will look to trouble a lot of Indian bowlers as well with the ability. Even in that game, he scored that 43. He could have really gone on to score big if he would have stayed in the crease for a couple more overs. The score would have been 160 or to 170 odd as well, because that's the kind of impact he's got, especially towards finishing the games. So tough choice as a captain, but if I have to really back my own instinct at this very point, I would go with Virat Kohli. I might be wrong. I might be pretty much wrong. He might get out for naught, and I might look like an idiot over here. But to be very honest, that's what. How dangerous will a rested and healthy Afridi be for the T20 World Cup? I think Afridi might not make it to the T20 World Cup. To be very honest, at this very point, it looks like he has done his ACL, is what I'm getting to know. It's a huge news, which whatever I'm hearing, whatever reports I've been reading, he's been sent to London, and if he's been sent to London, that means the injury is pretty bad, and they have to submit their squad within September 15th. So within 14 days, they have to really come up with a call that Afridi is
I
going to
think
make it or not.
he's ruled out positively for at least 6 weeks. I think 6 weeks is
I
the news
think,
that I
in
got.
my opinion, he's not going to make it. I don't think he's going to be playing that India Pakistan encounter on 23rd of October. I know it's a big prediction, bold prediction at this point. If they are going to really fast track him, it might
They
hamper
will
his
not
future as well.
risk it. They will not risk it with Afridi, because Afridi is a player who will play for Pakistan. He's a sort of a player that Pakistan would love to have even 10 years down the line. So I don't
Yeah,
think because of an Indian Pakistan encounter, uh, just so it is scheduled for
Hmm.
23rd October, they will not fast track the injury and not make him play if he's not 100% fit. And I think
Absolutely.
that will be very
I
foolish
know
of
he's
them if
done his
they try
ACL,
to. Yeah.
he's and I have to be very critical over here. Pakistan team has really overballed him at numerous occasions. He's balled in series which shouldn't have been relevant for Pakistan at all. They should have given the youngsters a go, but they've really used Afridi. I know it's to go for a win when you're playing for a nation, but then that's where India has managed Bumrah better, but still he's injured. That's one thing. But the point is this: ultimately, when you do something like an ACL in a major before a major tournament, that's when you really start worrying. Major reason why Bumrah was also not fast tracked to an Asia Cup, though he was almost 90% fit, as is what we got to know prior to the Asia Cup, prior just 1 week before Asia Cup, is that you don't want him to pull out something in the Asia Cup. India Pakistan will come, Asia Cup will come, but then looking at two World Cups back to back, one in your home country and one in Australia, you really want Bumrah to be fit and fine as well. For Shaheen Afridi, I don't really see him making it to the World Cup. To be very honest, I don't see him at least playing the first 2 to 3 games of the World Cup. Maybe then we might see him play. ACL injury is a major injury, and what I'm fearing is that I hope it's not a bigger one like what we saw with Jofra Archer as well. So it's a big call from Pakistan. That's why I believe someone like a Naseem Shah has been groomed pretty well at this very point. Looking at the Australian conditions as well, he's already played one series in Australia, if I'm not wrong. That was his debut series in Test, so he is pretty familiar as a 19-year-old for Australia. Thoughts, gentlemen, for Shaheen Afridi, Jen, coming to you, because Shaheen Afridi is such an exponent, for Pakistan, especially with upfront with the new ball and also with the death. How big a miss is it going to be if he's not going to make it to the World Cup?
Simon,
Yes,
ready?
anyone, you can take that ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Pakistan missing Afridi. I think they'll miss Afridi dearly if he's not be able to make it to the T20 World Cup. Definitely, he has been their number one bowler for quite some time now, for 2-3 years now. And we all know the impact he can cause, especially because he's exceptionally bowled really well against India in the past. So we all are very scared of Afridi when it comes to like him playing against India. But definitely, when it comes to other teams as well, Pakistan's number one bowler, they'll miss him dearly. And I think I really agree with whatever Abel said regarding Nasim Shah. I think he has been groomed pretty well and he's in good form. He has had some good series heading up to the Asia Cup. He started off in the T20 format in the best of forms. First game, first debut T20I match, and he was spot on with his performance. And I think tomorrow, with Dahani, who had a bit of an issue with the hamstring in the last game. So I feel tomorrow is the day where Pakistan can play Mohammad Hasnain as well as somebody like a Hassan Ali. So I think
Mm.
Hasnain, Hassan Ali, and Nasim Shah can be a three pacers, because it's Hong Kong. Not taking them lightly, but I think you definitely need to rest some of the players, because they will definitely have to play all the games in the Super Fours, because Pakistan PS department, they just have the three bowlers right now, because all of them are injured. Mohammad Wasim injured,
Mm.
Shaheen Shah Afridi injured, Harris Roth had some serious issues in the game against India.
I mean,
So
I
did
think that was just
Shaheen
cramps. I
Afridi.
think he should be all right.
Yeah, yeah,
To be
that was
very
cramps,
honest.
but I think they will definitely like to rest him in the game against Hong Kong. So I
Yeah.
don't think they would like to risk it.
I mean, yeah, Abel, you spoiled my night. I'm gonna have serious nightmares if Shaheen doesn't get fit. I'm giving up. And I want to give you people nightmares, but then it is the fact, right?
No,
I really wanted you people to also understand the graveness of the injury because it's an ACL injury. Praying for Afridi's speedy recovery, of course. As Afridi, there was this cute gesture, right, when Afridi went to Virat Kohli and said that I'm praying for your
correct.
form,
Yeah.
and that was one of the most cutest video I've seen you on internet for the longest period of time. A baller who's your rival baller going to prime batsman. I'm praying for your form. It is usually the other way around, right? I'm praying that you
I think
you
the
don't
fast
come back
bowlers
in
have
form.
really sweetened up, and they have they are really sweet to each other these days. Not what
Yeah.
I would like to see. I would have been happier if you would have walked up to Kohli and said, "We'll see you on in
Yeah,
the World
Kohli
Cup."
would rather take the latter than the former because that's what really
Definitely,
gets Kohli
definitely.
going.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's the
I
reason. I
agree.
think it's specifically to Kohli, right? Everyone wants to be
Yeah, yeah,
nice to
yeah.
Kohli.
Because the more you become nice to Virat Kohli, he
I
also never
mean,
will take you
you see
seriously.
the Australians becoming nice to Kohli, then I suppose everyone.
Yeah. Because I think that is the way for I remember there's this very interesting anecdote of Parthiv Patel and Steve Waugh, right, where he really
Yeah,
nudged
yeah.
up to Steve Waugh, and Steve Waugh went on to play that knock as well. Same thing with Virat Kohli as well. If you remember 2018 series before that Perth Test match, Tim Payne really got Virat Kohli going.
I mean,
That's one of the
Mitch
reasons. And numerous
Johnson.
occasions of
You
Virat
remember
Kohli
Mitch
versus the
Johnson?
rivals.
Mitch
Mitchell Johnson,
Johnson saying he's
exactly.
not going to score any runs in Australia. I mean, that got the series pumping.
For
Uh,
example, 2018, Anderson really getting to Kohli as well. He really
yeah,
told that I'm going to have Virat Kohli's number yet again. So nowadays, it's like Virat Kohli, the greatest batter. I really love watching Virat Kohli, bro. You've achieved everything. So it's just another thing to keep
I
Virat
mean,
Kohli
I
moving
think if I'm
around.
not wrong, it was I think it was Ehsan Ali who from Hong Kong who said I'll get Virat Kohli's wicket, and then Virat Kohli goes on to score a 50.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
for
Ehsan Khan said
example,
that, yeah, I'll get him out. But to be honest,
Yeah,
to be very fair, I think Ehsan Khan did a spectacular job against Kohli because he
he
bowled
did,
all
he
those
did,
difficult overs,
but he
the
did
death
not get him
overs as
out.
well as
So
the
so
power
he
plays.
did
Kohli
not get
mission
him
one
out.
for Kohli, I would say.
Yeah. And,
But
and
Kohli
that's
did
the thing
not
with Virat
score
Kohli.
at over 120 against him, at a strike rate of more than 120 against
I
him.
mean, he was pretty good.
Definitely.
Even against Surya Kumar Yadav, who was striking the ball so well, he's struggling with Ehsan Khan. If you look
I
at
mean,
that
you
entire
saw a
series.
spinner hitting more Yorkers and fast bowlers in the series.
I mean, now he's actually opening up
No,
Ashwin's
I had
mind
to.
even more.
So I had to
Ashwin is
go back.
definitely now going to practice Yorkers and the nets for sure.
I had to
But
go on, internet check whether this guy is a medium pacer or not. He was just darting in those Yorkers. I mean, he was incredible.
one would call him Pai Chucker, but then I believe he's such a good bowler.
I think
And I think he's got the
Avish Khan
accuracy.
really needs to go to his training camp right now. Not training camp, I mean, to go and see his training over there
I mean,
because
I had an
his death
interesting
over bowling
stat
has
on
not been.
Avesh Khan, guys.
Yeah.
Avesh Khan's stat is pretty mind-boggling, and it's very scary if you're an Indian fan because he has conceded close to
113 runs in 38 balls.
115 runs in 38
Yeah, 14
balls in the
runs.
last how many ever games he's played in his T20 career. His death over stats are 14 runs in 1 over, 19 runs in 1 over, 11 runs in 1 over, 20 runs in 1 over, 2 balls, 12 runs, 1 over 17 runs, 1 over 21 runs. These are some scary stats out there, lads. With something
And
which
he has not bowled a single over below 10 runs in his entire career in T20 internationals, in death bowling especially. So
absolutely.
yeah, bring Ashwin.
Sandeepani, I think I hand over you right now because this is
See, I
your
am
line.
not very good at reading Bengali. I can speak Bengali. Yeah. Sri
But
Lanka.
whatever it is, can you try to read it though? Yeah, giving me very interesting, right? We like taking up different languages. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, while Sandipani is on to that comment, I'll ask this interesting question, right? We had this, so Naseem Shah as well had a few issues with the cramps, and I had this question. So they're playing in Sharjah, if I'm not wrong, tomorrow's match. So do
yeah,
you think someone like an Usman Qadir, I think that's his name, if I'm not wrong?
yeah. Usman Khadir, yeah.
Uh, yeah, so do you think he could be a spinning option, given that Sharjah's been a turning track? Give
Yeah, I mean,
Naseem
not
Shah
a
a
bad
day off.
option to be honest. I would have Harris Roth on Sharjah's wickets because Sharjah's wicket has always helped bowlers who hit the deck because it doesn't come onto your bat, it stays low as well. If you remember Harris Roth's spell against New Zealand in the T20 World Cup, the same ground, he picked up 3 wickets. So I'll have Harris Roth for sure, but I might try someone like Naseem Shah, considering he was battling a lot of pain, man. You don't want him to also get ruled out of
Yeah, I
Asia
mean,
Cup.
would you
That'll
rest
be something
both
missing.
the pacers? I mean, and get maybe a Usman Qadir in because he's a quality spinner. He can do a job on a turning track. I know he's a bit young. He's new to this Pakistani setup, but
I mean, I might actually play him. Sandeep, your thoughts on that? Because
Would
Usman
you take
Khadir
the
has done
risk?
a very
It is
decent job
Hong
in
Kong. We don't
PSL
want
as
to be
well.
complacent.
He's got a
He's a
he's got a very
knockout
good
game.
DP, just like
No,
his
no, I
father.
think Usman Qadir is one of the bowlers who is a wicket taker. I would definitely have him in place of Mohammad Nawaz. I mean, he picked up 2 wickets in the game, 3 wickets in the game against India. But I would definitely feel, I definitely feel that he's more of a wicket taker than Mohammad Nawaz, because
But
Pakistan
then,
has the option of
Manoj,
going to Khuzdil
won't
Shah
that
as
be
the third bowler
unfair?
option.
Won't that be unfair to someone like a Mohammad Nawaz? Because he's at that stage
No,
where you
no,
need
I mean,
confidence from the Pakistani
I'm
management side.
talking about this
He had a
just for the
final
game against
over.
Hong Kong.
No, I mean he had a final over go for runs. He needs a bit of confidence. At least I would say. I don't know what's going on in the camp.
I think
I would
he's
say
pretty
get
high on
Mohammad
confidence.
Nawaz
Even if
there. It's
Mohammad
a
Nawaz
turning
is
track.
dropped and Usman Qadir is brought in, I will definitely, I definitely think that it is only going to be because they are going to rest Mohammad Nawaz, and I definitely feel they can rest either of Khuzdil Shah, Shadab Khan, or Mohammad Nawaz in tomorrow's game, because they have 3 spinners, and play Usman Qadir. Because we have seen that some of the associate nations, they find it very difficult to play quality leg spin, and I think
Hmm.
Usman Qadir is a bowler who is very underrated in the Pakistani team. He has played quite a few international games in the last 1 or 2 years, and he has been pretty consistent in whatever opportunities that he has mainly got opportunities when Shadab Khan did not make it to the team or was not able to play due to some reason or the other. But I think
Yeah.
he is definitely a world class player, and definitely
Yeah,
deserves a
Sharjah is
go.
indeed a very tiny stadium. If you hit the ball, it goes right to that electrical shop outside the stadium. You remember Dhoni's one of the stadium went right there, and all the neighbors in
Ball
Sharjah
catchers are
went,
gonna wait. I think right
provided
there.
it's a good pitch. Provided it's a good pitch. In Sharjah, you get those very bad pitches where the ball doesn't even cross the 30-yard circle. Like however hard you type, however how you time. Abel Cheta, please answer in Malayalam. No Sanju instead of KL. ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞല്ലോ പണ്ടേ പോലെ സഞ്ജു കളിക്കോ ഇല്ലയോ എന്ന് എനിക്ക് അറിയില്ല. പക്ഷെ ഇപ്പൊ സഞ്ജു സാംസൺ കളിച്ചാൽ തന്നെ KL രാഹുലിന്റെ പ്ലേസിൽ കളിക്കുമെന്ന് തോന്നുന്നില്ല. ഇപ്പം പൃഥ്വി ഷോ ഉണ്ട്, ഋതുരാജ് ഗൈക്വാഡ് ഉണ്ട്, ശുഭ്മൻ ഗിൽ ഉണ്ട്. ഈ ഒരു സമയത്ത് സഞ്ജു സാംസന്റെ ഏറ്റവും ബെസ്റ്റ് റിപ്ലേസ്മെന്റ് എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ മിഡിൽ ഓർഡറിൽ തന്നെ വരുവാണ്. അതിപ്പോ പറയാൻ പറ്റില്ല. ശ്രേയസ് അയ്യർ ഇപ്പം ഇഞ്ചുറി ആവാന്ന് വെച്ചോ വേൾഡ് കപ്പിന് മുമ്പ്. ആ ഒരു സമയത്ത് ചിലപ്പോൾ സഞ്ജു സാംസൺ വന്നെന്നിരിക്കും. ഇപ്പം സഞ്ജു സാംസന് ഇപ്പൊ വേൾഡ് കപ്പ് ടീമിൽ വരാൻ വളരെ എന്താ പറയാ വളരെ ചാൻസ് കുറവാണ് ഈ ഒരു സമയത്തിൽ. പക്ഷെ പറയാൻ പറ്റില്ല. സഞ്ജു സാംസൺ ഫാൻസ്, I know you people are like huge fans of Sanju Samson. Just hold on to it. KL Rahul hasn't been having the best of times. That's all from me. I know once we start with regional language, just gets going now. क्या कल पाक फकर के साथ ओपन करेंगे? हिंदी में बात करो. कर भी सकता है, मतलब पर मेरे को लगता नहीं है कि इतना
नहीं
अच्छा
नहीं नहीं नहीं,
ओपनिंग
डेफिनेटली नहीं
देखो,
करेंगे, क्योंकि
रहा है.
मैं
बाबर
अगर
आजम और
मैं
रिजवान,
बताऊं तो देखो, पाकिस्तान वर्ल्ड नंबर 3 है T20 रैंकिंग्स में. कुछ तो सही कर रहा है. तो इस हिसाब
हाँ,
से देखा
और
जाए तो आई थिंक
बाबर और रिजवान एक
फकर
इंटीग्रल
नंबर 3
पार्ट
में
है वो
आएंगे.
नंबर 3 होने का।
या फकर नंबर 3 में आएंगे तो वो स्पिनर्स के खिलाफ बहुत अच्छा खेलते हैं, जैसे कि हमने बहुत बार बोला है. तो आई थिंक अगर वो जाएंगे, आई मीन फकर आएंगे, आई मीन नंबर 3 पे, और अगर बाबर और रिजवान ने एक स्टार्ट दिया है तो फिर ही वो स्पेशली हांगकांग के खिलाफ, क्योंकि उनके स्पिनर्स बहुत स्ट्रांग है. हमने देखा इंडिया के खिलाफ वो कितना अच्छा खेले हैं. तो मुझे लग रहा है अगर फकर उन तीनों के खिलाफ बैट करेंगे तो शायद पाकिस्तान का पलड़ा फिर बाहर ही हो सकता है.
ये
आई
बात
थिंक
भी नहीं,
वही
मतलब
होगा उनकी रन.
हांगकांग के साथ एक लेग स्पिनर एक लेफ्ट आर्म स्पिनर भी है, और इसी कारण ना फकर को आना
करेक्ट.
बहुत जरूरी है मिडिल ओवर्स में. और एक ही लेफ्ट हैंडर है उन लोगों के पास टॉप 7 में. मतलब नवाज भी लेफ्ट हैंडर है, कुछ दिल शाल भी है, पर आप देखेंगे तो फकर का तो क्वालिटी काफी ऊपर है इन तीनों से. तो उसी वजह से मेरे को लगता है फकर 3 में ही खेलेंगे. और आप देखिएगा तो वर्ल्ड कप में भी फकर ने बहुत अच्छे अच्छे इनिंग्स खेले थे नंबर 3 में आके. तो मेरे को लगता नहीं कि अभी कुछ चेंजेस करेंगे. अभी इस वक्त वर्ल्ड कप अभी 1 ही महीना दूर है, और इस वक्त करेंगे तो काफी मुश्किल पड़ सकता है पाकिस्तान के लिए. और शारजाह ग्राउंड ऐसे जो उमंग ने कहा कि बहुत छोटा है, और फकर का भी बहुत अच्छे इनिंग्स रहा है शारजाह के ग्राउंड में ही. आप देखिएगा तो पिछले साल में भी काफी अच्छे इनिंग्स खेला है. मेरे को लगता है आसिफ अली को भी खिलाना चाहिए. पिछले मैच नहीं खेला था आसिफ अली. आसिफ अली खेला था ना पिछले मैच?
खेला
अरे
था,
आसिफ
खेला था।
अली खेला था,
आसिफ
आसिफ अली
अली
खेला
डिड
था.
प्ले, खेला था वो।
आसिफ अली को मेरे को लगता है नंबर 5 में खेलना चाहिए. मतलब इफ्तिकार भी अच्छा अच्छा ही खेल रहा है इस वक्त
उनको थोड़ा
पर
कॉन्फिडेंस चाहिए होगा आसिफ अली को, क्योंकि उनको ये लोग लास्ट 5 ओवर, आसिफ अली ने खुद बोला है कि उनको लास्ट 5-6 ओवर में बैटिंग करना अच्छा लगता है. इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि हमेशा उनको 16-17 ओवर पे डाला जाए और उनको कोई बॉल ही नहीं मिलता सेटल होने के लिए.
हाँ,
5-6
मतलब
गेंद उनको मिलता है 10-12 रन करने
मैं
के
भी
लिए. तो
काफ़ी हैरान हुआ था कि पिछले मैच में शादाब को ऊपर भेजा आसिफ अली से ऊपर. मतलब क्या
हाँ, वो आई
वो
थिंक
मैसेज भी
किसी
अच्छा नहीं था.
कमेंटेटर्स को भी अच्छा नहीं लगा था, क्योंकि एक प्योर बैट्समैन खेल रहा है आपके साथ.
बट मेरे को लगता है कि वो
आप
लोग
उस
थोड़ा
बैट्समैन की इज्जत नहीं कर रहे हो अगर आप उनको
शदाब
आगे नहीं
का
भेज रहे
हाइप
हो.
बहुत ज्यादा है अभी पाकिस्तान में. शदाब का अगर आप देखा जाए तो बाबर आजम और रिजवान के बाद सबसे ज्यादा अगर किसी प्लेयर का हाइप है तो वो शदाब खान का है, क्योंकि
हम्म.
उनका पीएसएल सबसे बढ़िया गया था. सेकंड हाईएस्ट विकेट टेकर थे, और रन स्कोरिंग में भी 260 के आसपास रन रन मारे थे उन लोगों ने 8 इनिंग में, और वो नंबर 3 या नंबर 4 पे बैटिंग करने आ रहे थे इस्लामाबाद
हम्म,
यूनाइटेड के लिए।
जी, बिल्कुल।
तो मेरे को लगता
मतलब
है कि शराब।
मेरे को याद है
हाँ
पिछले मैच में वसीम अकरम ने कहा था कि आसिफ अली एक सुपर हीरो नहीं है, पहले बॉल में आके ही
हाँ
छक्का
हाँ,
मारना चालू करे।
डेफिनेटली।
मार सकता है, ऐसा बात नहीं है कि आके मार नहीं सकता है, मतलब हर वक्त तो नहीं होगा ऐसा कि पिच जैसा शारजा जैसा पिच में तो
और
बहुत ही
कल
मुश्किल
के लिए मेरे
मुश्किल
को लगता है कि फ़खर ज़मान बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट होने वाले हैं, और इसलिए क्योंकि जैसे तुम दोनों ने मेंशन किया कि इन लोगों के पास एक लेफ्ट आर्म स्पिनर है और इन लोगों के पास एक लेग स्पिनर है। और लेफ्ट आर्म स्पिनर बहुत मतलब बहुत स्लो पेस पे बॉल करता है। अगर
हुँ,
आप लोगों ने कल का गेम देखा होगा, तो यसीम मुर्तज़ा जो है वो 75-76 किलोमीटर पर आवर पे बॉल करता है, और काफ़ी सारे पाकिस्तान बैट्समैन को डिफिकल्टी होगा उनको लंबे-लंबे शॉट्स मारने में। तो इसीलिए
Mhm.
आसिफ अली और स्पेशली फ़खर ज़मान, क्योंकि वो विद द स्पिन मार सकते हैं छोटे बाउंड्री पे। तो ये दो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होने वाले पाकिस्तान के लिए, रन स्कोरिंग के लिए स्पेशली।
आई मीन ट्रूली आई मीन ऐसे मतलब देखना पड़ेगा कि कल कहाँ बैटिंग करेंगे फ़खर ज़मान और रुद्रा ने कहा कि गाइस योर हिंदी एनालिसिस अमेजिंग प्लीज़ कंटिन्यू। हाँ, मतलब कोशिश करता हूँ, मेरा हिंदी तो उतना ख़ास नहीं है, इन दोनों का हिंदी काफ़ी बेहतर है मेरे से भी, तो उसी वजह से मैं हिंदी में बात करना नहीं चाहता। हाँ, और सलोनी आई वोंट बी सरप्राइज़्ड इफ यू कैन टॉक इन स्पेनिश
Not yet, not
नो,
yet.
नो,
Soon
नॉट
enough,
येट।
maybe. Maybe Abel, when he's doing his La Liga analysis, might start a bit of Spanish. You never know.
Definitely. Definitely. I'll really try that though. But let's talk about Hong Kong. I wanted to bring an interesting point. You know about Hong Kong, right? That's a very fascinating thing about this team. If you talk about these players, you saw the video which Indian cricket team posted as well. These players are not full-time cricketers. They are actually
Yeah.
Uber delivery boys, like what we have Uber delivery boys, food delivery boys. Some of them work in electrical shops. Some of them are carpenters. So their mainstay job is not playing cricket. So they come play for 4 hours, and they had 860 days of lockdown in Hong Kong. So which meant they couldn't practice at all in the last couple of years. Despite all that, they came into this Asia Cup qualifiers with so much of confidence, and they really are being. They are a team which has impressed everybody. Even yesterday, they gave India a minus scare with the kind of start they got. Your thoughts on such a team? You know, and it's such a fascinating story, right? For a team which consisted of semi-professional cricketers to come to a stage like Asia Cup, give the big boys challenge for their money, and they actually troubled Virat Kohli, they troubled KL Rahul, they troubled Rohit Sharma, your top three big batters in the world as well. Thoughts on that, Jaren, and then I'll take Sandeep to answer the same as well.
I think it's just heartening to see this happen. You as a cricket fan, as someone who talks a lot about cricket, I mean, you want these teams to do well because that's exactly how the sport grows. The sport doesn't grow, when one team or two teams are just dominating it and they are the only ones you're ready to watch. Sport grows when these kind of stories come up and they do well. And I'm just glad to see this Hong Kong team do a lot. I would have loved to see this, maybe the format itself. I mean, we had this discussion with Sandimani when you able was facing this technical difficulties. We would
Hmm.
love to see the format support these kind of teams a lot more. When you see these teams come forward, I know maybe this form. I mean, I know it's not a lot of money that these boards can generate when associated nations play, but that's how it works, right? Back in the day when cricket was still new, the fact that teams had gotten these opportunities a lot more to come forward and showcase their cricket, they got a lot of exposure. That's how these teams grow, right? I love this Hong Kong setup. I hope tomorrow against Pakistan as well. I know Pakistani fans would want the match to get over quickly so they can prepare against India. But I really hope this match goes against till the last ball because of two reasons. One, India is not playing, so I'm a bit more at comfort. I can enjoy it as a cricket fan. But also because you want these kind of matches
Secondly, I want
because
to complete my dinner properly, so that's the main thing.
yeah, I
मेरे को
mean, I
भागना
think
नहीं है
we
अंदर.
had Nathan right on in the comment section. These are the
Yeah.
kind of fans who'll only come and watch matches if they go to the last wire. They are not, they are not fans who are gonna come and watch one particular team, or they are teams who are still forming their opinions, right? So these kind of fans need a last ball thriller or a match that we saw
Hmm.
today. Today's match would have given a lot of heartache to a lot of fans. I know Bangladeshi fans have had a major heartache, but these
Yeah,
are
and
the
I
kind
think
of
that
games.
Bengali comment was just one of those Bangladeshi fans who was really disappointed with the Sri Lankan win. I think
Did you just
pretty
Google
much to sum it
translate
up.
it, Sandibani?
No, no, I think there was some expressive, like expletives as well. I mean, it was not. It is not for general viewing as well. I think he was very disappointed that Bangladesh did not qualify, and
Yeah,
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 I
I think
think that.
we'll just keep that comments to the emojis, right? And that's
yeah.
all I
Yeah.
interpret it.
How many languages can you
Yeah, I
talk,
think
man? Just speak
but
it.
then as fans, you want to see that. a match which gets over in the 15th over with no struggle. I think even hardcore Indian fans, the Bangladeshi fans, the Sri Lankan fans don't enjoy it as much as the teams fighting it out in the last ball, and that's what you want. And I think Hong Kong did that against India. I know it did not go to the wire, but you saw that quality from Hong Kong, and that's what you want. And I hope, cricket always begins as a semi-professional sport, or any sport begins as a semi-professional adventure. All I hope is that the Hong Kong administrator, the cricket administrators, are able to put in place a system. It's not going to be very easy, but a system which produces professional cricketers, where these cricketers are able to, have a job just in cricket. And that's what
Yeah.
I hope this Hong Kong team goes to.
I mean, now with the kind of recognition they've got, I bet that so many leagues will be watching them, and so many of these players will get a contract in
Yes,
some of the leagues. With now, especially UAE league, for example,
correct.
it's a league for many of these players to actually make a mark as well. Shanwari, no, I'm not gonna take this comment. Sorry, sorry, but yeah, Allah protect you from girls. No, no, guys, I'm not taking any of these comments. But let's get back to cricket. I think Hong Kong team, for me personally, are a team which impressed me in that 2018 Asia Cup. For me, them bringing the game to close to 24 runs where they lost that game. Nazakat Khan was a player who scored 92 runs in that game, if I'm not wrong. He was
Yeah,
very close. If not for Khalil Ahmed, India could have actually lost that game as well. So, Sanjay Mani, your
definitely.
thoughts on Hong Kong before we actually wrap up the show today? Who's that one player who you're excited about tomorrow? For me, it is Babar Hayat. It's going to be the contest of Babar. It's a Babar derby, as I'm already predicting it. It's going to be one Babar is going to win. You can predict which Babar it is going to be. So have Babar in your fantasy teams as well. So Sandeep, handing over to you.
I think I will not like to take any particular name, but I am definitely excited to see Hong Kong's performances. I don't have one particular name in my mind, but I'm very excited to see somebody like a Yasim Murtaza and Nizakat Khan open the innings for Hong Kong. I will be very excited. Like it's good if they get them off to a good start. And the only change that I would like to make in that Hong Kong batting order is I would like to see Kinchit Shah, who came in at number 4 or number 5 in the game against India,
Yeah,
to come in at number 3, because he's sort of a player who can play throughout the innings. That player. He's your player who will take you through the game. He's your anchor. And I feel Babar Hayat will do a better job. It will be better if Babar Hayat and Nizakat Khan opens the innings, and Yasim Murtaza can sort of come a bit down the order, so that they have hitters down the order as well. I was very impressed with the wicketkeeper as well. Scott McKechnie, I think was the
mm.
name. He was
Yeah, yeah,
very impressive with
absolutely.
the bat. And I think with the ball as well, there is Ayush Shukla starting the ball in the power play. Ayush Shukla and is Ehsan Khan are very. I'm very excited to see how they go in the power play, and especially Ehsan Khan in the death overs. And I think definitely I would love to see Yasim Murtaza have an all-round performance. All in all, I think if Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan gets out early tomorrow, we have a game on our hands, and I think it is going to be a 50-50 affair, because
Yeah,
I
Sandeep.
think Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan are the two batsmen who are world class players, who sort of will tilt the game in Pakistan's favor. But if you can dismiss somehow you can dismiss those two players early on, I think
Mm.
with some inexperience in that middle order, and some like they are not habituated or accustomed to play early on in the innings. I mean, all the players are uh, accustomed to play around Babar Azam or Mohammad Rizwan, whoever gets going. So I think it will be very interesting to see how they go if the two of them don't really perform. So I expect a close contest if that is if Hong Kong bowling team turns up, because I am quite confident the batting team will do well.
Sandeep, you gotta teach that. I mean, answer that, man. What is catchy about your smile?
I
Matlab,
don't know. I mean, thank you so much, Priyanka. That is so sweet.
I mean, yeah, very sweet.
Yeah.
Of course, that Sandeepani is very sweet as well. Guys, you can check Sandeepani out on Instagram. Not gonna tell anything, but
No,
I think
yeah,
after these lives, there'll be a lot of girls hunting for Abel in Sandipani's Instagram profiles.
no, I'm not giving any of my
I would
Instagram.
love it if they are hunting it for more cricket content. I think
Yeah,
that will excite me
absolutely.
more, and
Yeah,
I'll be
that's what
very
we do.
happy if I can at least convince a few to play watch cricket in the future, and I'll
I mean, you
that is
guys can catch
what our
them
job is.
and their cricket content on Twitter. I think they're very active on Twitter.
Yeah.
Um, Safe space.
I
Yeah,
mean,
honestly,
yeah.
I have
I
not been
mean,
very active on Twitter because yeah, it's been a while since I have done one of
Yeah,
those
so I mean,
races.
maybe that's the
Yeah.
inspiration you require, Sandipani, to come back on
No, no,
Twitter.
no, no. I was covering the Commonwealth Games in detail in Twitter,
yeah.
and after that, I haven't been on Twitter with the Twitter Spaces in the Asia Cup thing because I've been coming for lives, and we have been having lives for almost close to 2 hours. So it's good. I just want more and more fans to turn up, watch cricket because we are having today's game was a roller coaster ride. Probably not the best brand of cricket, but definitely excitement wise, the thrill wise, I think a knockout game going down to the wire is what all the fans wanted to see. They got it. I hope tomorrow is a close contest as well, and then we have the Super Fours, which is definitely going to be exciting. And thank you so much for all the support that you have been showing
Yeah.
in the comments for everyone, like
Guys, if
for us
possible,
especially.
subscribe to the channel right now who haven't already subscribed. Great love what we are getting from all across the world right now. I see people from Australia, I see people from UK joining in. As I already know, some people of you joined from Australia. That's my thing. I don't know where you are in the world, some other people, but then wherever you are in the world, subscribe to the channel, which helps us to bring these kind of content because that's something which motivates us as well, as content creators and as sports broadcasters or podcasters. It really helps us. The kind of love what we are getting is just brilliant. So just subscribe to the channel right now if you haven't, because there's some exciting content we are going to bring you. We want to take you as well alongside us in whatever content reaction what we do. So thank you for that. Before we end the live, I just want to ask you one player who you thinking will have a very good game tomorrow and one worst player, as we did yesterday. Your prediction for Gunathara kind of came true. So Jen, I'll start off with you. I'll come to Sandeepani after that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Gunathika was the worst player, but yeah, I think okay, it's gonna be tricky here. I'm really hoping someone like a Rizwan comes out. Maybe quells a lot of. I would maybe expect a Rizwan Barber show, but for me, Rizwan especially because I really love the way he plays. He's very innovative, very technical. Um, Worst player. I think Murtaza might find it difficult, because maybe I feel against India, people didn't know they were coming against, so maybe Indians did not see what was coming in. Because I think Pakistan, given the enormity of the match, we haven't spoken about it. Probably it is a do or die. Maybe the fact that Hong Kong is not as big a team, we haven't brought it up, but it is a do or die. So maybe Pakistan will take it a lot more seriously than India did. So I think Murtaza might find it difficult against some of the quality that Pakistan bring into, especially the left-handed combo of I think the fact that we have someone like Fakhar Zaman beating, and we have Asif Ali, so they're really good players of spin. You might see a lot of balls going to the night sky when it comes to Murtaza. I hope my predictions come true.
Yeah, of course. We all hope as well. Sandeepani, up to you now.
I
Who is
think
that
the
one
best
player?
player tomorrow, I think, is going to be Shadab Khan. I think Hong Kong team will definitely
Yeah.
struggle against spin. We saw it
Hmm.
in the last game as well. So I think Shadab Khan will be my pick for the best player, and for the worst player, it's tricky. But I definitely feel the Hong Kong batters are really going to struggle against spin tomorrow. So yeah, so middle order, basically the Hong Kong middle order. Apart from the batsmen I just named, I think Babar Hayat, Nizakat Khan, Scott McKechnie, and Shah. I think
Kinchit, Kinchit,
Kinchit,
Kinchit.
Kinchit Shah.
Kinchit, yeah.
Kinchit
The guy
Shah.
who,
I
he's the guy
think
who
he'll.
proposed yesterday, right? He's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
guy who
yeah, yeah.
proposed to them.
I
Yeah, that was
think
very good.
before he proposed, he had a very good game. I think he scored 30 of 28 balls. That is why I want Kinchit Shah to come up the order at number 3, because I feel that Hong Kong needs a player who can sort of go on till the end. And definitely, there are power hitters. There is no question that we have the Hong Kong team has power hitters like Babar Hayat, Nizakat Khan. I think the way Babar Hayat took on some of the bowlers yesterday, and definitely the lower order batsman Scott McKechnie absolutely dismantled Avish Khan in that over. That extra cover shot that shot over the extra cover was so delightful to see. And even in that last over, I don't know who was the other player. I think it was
I think it was
Zishan Ali.
Ali.
Yeah, yeah,
Zishan
Yeah,
Ali.
Zishan Ali. Zishan
Yeah.
Ali,
Zishan.
on the other hand, took on Arshdeep Singh. I think perfect
The
Yorkers he
shot was the
nailed them.
shot of the game for me. Over covers, the slower one, that was just brilliant. That
Yeah, yeah,
wonderful
yeah.
shot.
I think those players are definitely going to define tomorrow. But small grounds, I definitely hope that tomorrow. I also expect it to be a Babar Rizwan show. But definitely, I would want a very close contest. And
Truly.
please do watch out for Shadab Khan. I think he'll be the player to watch out for.
Thank you, Tanya, for that. It was such a sweet comment. And Sandeepani is a player. Definitely is a player. What kind of player? क्या पता
Yeah, I think
That,
Sandipani is
just
expert at playing a lot of games. Uh,
Yeah,
Yes.
I play chess, I play cricket, I play.
I
I
don't
think
think
a
he
bit
should
of.
talk about sports, bro.
he isn't gonna let his complete repertoire known.
Yeah,
He's a
he's a
very
player,
sneaky person.
and he's a fantasy player as well. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Mainly, I'm a fantasy player.
so guys, just take care it. And yeah, I really think Sri Lanka might win it against Afghanistan. I have a feeling right now they've got the momentum set, but it all depends on how it turns out for them, in that Super Four. Because the reason why how Super Fours bring you different kind of pressure is because now you're going to be in a position where you're close to qualifying for the final, so the pressure hits differently. The number of mistakes they made today, if they're going to repeat that against Afghanistan, it's not going to work because they've got three genuine quality spinners, right? They're going to tie a web either ways. I'm not
Hmm.
sure where they're going to be playing. I'm not if they're going to play in Sharjah. It's going to be tough for Sri Lanka because their stroke makers are going to find it difficult, and Rashid and Mujib are going to really have a field day, is what I believe. But otherwise, for Sri Lanka, especially, I really want Chandimal back in the lineup. Chandimal should come in for Gunatilaka. Finally, I accept it. Gunatilaka should be replaced in the lineup because he just doesn't look confident at this time. And Chandimal has been a player who scored a double century, scored a century. He's got all the shots in the book as well. So no
I would
reason why
also
he should
love
be
to
bad.
see Dhananjay De Silva in the team because he'll also add those 2-3 overs with the ball in the middle overs
Yeah, I
because Sri
think.
Lanka have been really lacking death over bowlers.
Also, I think Dhananjay De Silva comes into the team because I think they're playing in Sharjah, their first match against Afghanistan. So I think that turning track might help
I
someone like a
think
Dhananjay De
probably
Silva.
drop either of Asalanka or Rajapaksha, preferably Asalanka because I will not bet against Rajapaksha. He's also a left-hander, and you would definitely like to have more left-handers against Rashid Khan if you're going up against Rashid Khan and Mujibur Rahman. But yeah, I definitely feel drop Asalanka and Gunatilaka. Asalanka has been a star for Sri Lanka in the last year or so, but I definitely feel for the next game, just bring in your senior players because they have been performing all across the world. They have been performing very consistently in the last 2-3 months. They need a chance. You have named them in the squad. Give them a chance. Is all I
Yeah.
want for the team. Yeah.
Absolutely. Guys, once again, I request you all to subscribe to the channel already. Abel, thank you for hearing me and being Spidey. Please come as superhero tomorrow. भाई साहब, कल मैं मून नाइट पहन के आया था, तुम लोगों ने मेरे को पाकिस्तानी बना दिया। आज मैं स्पाइडरमैन हूँ। मतलब
Batman
या
tomorrow. Abel, Batman tomorrow.
हो गया कोटा खत्म। कल से नो सुपर हीरो। Like I'll wear Virat Kohli is my favorite superhero. I'll wear him and come.
Oh,
So yeah, guys, we're gonna end the live.
Jerin, was I wrong in asking Abel to name Virat Kohli as a captain in fantasy pip, like whenever he
no,
plays fantasy
I,
cricket?
I, I really know about Abel simping about Virat Kohli. He's a big simp. He's.
Because at this point,
I
I mean,
mean,
it's nice.
all
I'm
people
credit.
are
I
also
gonna
mean,
Virat
all,
unsubscribe
Kohli
to our
fan.
every
channel if they're gonna
RCB
listen
fan
anymore
is
further.
right.
If we end the live right here, people are gonna unsubscribe to our channel because now it's gonna go a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
wild.
yeah.
And let's end the live and have this discussion behind the screen because I know for a reason why this we have had this conversation off the screen. This is how it is. So that's what I would say. Sandeepani, if your predictions go right, Gunatilaka is awaiting a century this Asia Cup. Um,
We will see. We'll see. I would be very happy for Gunatilaka if he manages to get a century by the end of this Asia Cup because I definitely don't think if he does not get a century, he's not going to get a place in the World Cup team. I definitely
yeah.
feel that this is his last chance to. It's a do or die for Gunatilaka because he has lost his place as an opener. He's going to lose his place in the team as well if he does not perform in the next 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. Rizwan number two, Surya Kumar Yadav is number one. Very happy for Surya. What a player. What a wonderful player he is. And I believe that he's got a long way ahead of him. Sky is truly not the limit. I think he'll go above Sky. He's just limitless at this point.
Yeah, I
The
think
kind of
he
shots
started
he
sending
plays,
balls to space now. So it's
incredible
sky
player,
is not
man.
the limit anymore.
Not seen a player from India bat like that. I'm including all the greatest batters across the world. From India, we've had some greatest of players, but to have that range which Sky had, crazy, crazy range. That the shot which he plays over backward point, right, for a full length delivery. I don't think any batter in India can do that. Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, nobody can do that, but Sky can do that. That's why he's a special player. I put him on the same paradigm with AB de Villiers because he's a 360-degree player and he's
I
got
think his
all the books.
wrists are very powerful. I think the way he uses his wrists is mind blowing. I mean, and I will also like to say that Surya Kumar Yadav, even though he has been very consistent in the last 3-4 series, but I definitely want him to score against Pakistan. I definitely want him to score in the crunch games, because we saw in the last game against Pakistan, it was a tricky situation when he came into bat. I did not like the way he got out against Nasim Shah at that situation,
Yeah,
at
I
that
think
point of
he
the
was
game.
beaten. He was beaten by pace
Yeah,
ultimately.
he was
I
just
do
simply
see that
beaten by
game.
pace, and it was not a good sight. So definitely want him to bounce back against Pakistan on Sunday.
Truly, truly. No, guys, absolutely no. He's not my brother. Yeah, with that, we'll end the live right here. It was great to have you all. We had a lot of viewers today, so wonderful. Take all your questions. And guys, if you haven't already subscribe right now. I have a huge news awaiting you. If you haven't already made your teams for Boom 11, make 5 teams during the Asia Cup. For 5 different matches, and be a part of a raffle draw where you get a chance to win 2 grams gold coin. 5 lucky winners will be chosen, and this is your opportunity to play fantasy contest at Boom 11. The link is in the bio. Click on it right now and download the app. And this is your opportunity. Make the most out of it. It's absolutely free of cost to play, unlike any other app. So this is your opportunity to test your fantasy skills, have the bragging rights over your friends as well. Be a winner in Boom 11. You only become a winner. There is no financial risk at all. So this is your opportunity. Make the most out of it in Asia Cup, and also Premier League action is underway. Leicester taking on United in some time. And what a season we've been having in football. Champions League is starting in a week as well. So this is your opportunity. Make the most out of transfer window deadline day. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about it. So have a good night, all of you. Great to have you all. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Jen and Sandimani. We'll pull each other's leg off the screen now.
Yeah, good night, guys.
Thank you so much, guys.